Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. 7:05 p.m. The goddamn fucked up YouTube made me say, verify your fucking account again for like the second time in a month. Which, where are you going? Which was messed up. Had to call Craig. See, what the fuck is happening, Craig? Hello. And so that means that I am so ready for a bong hit. I'm going to wait a minute, see if anybody else joins us, but I am seriously ready for a bong hit. We'll be doing that quite momentarily. And we had the Boo Bear up here a second ago, and he bailed on us. I don't know what his deal is. He already had his bong hit, fucker. I have a couple videos for you about credit cards tracking gun sales, about other stuff when it comes to freedom. There was a woman that's running for mayor of Los Angeles. I thought she was a previous representative member of Congress, and she had 2 guns stolen from her house. That was it. She had cash, she had jewels, she had all kinds of other valuables. She had 2 guns stolen. I thought these people hated guns, right? So we'll get to that momentarily also. And I have horrible cannabis propaganda piece. More or less, and we'll get to that in a moment too. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I really want to make clear that you are what the show is about. Were it not for you, there would be no reason to do the show. So the telephone number's up there on the screen so that you can participate in the show if you like. Otherwise, it's cool. I'm like so ready for a bong hit. Is anybody else here ready for a bong hit? If I don't get a bong hit, this whole shit, right? Like I'm working right up to where I'm about ready to do the show, right? And I pull up the page, I do this, I do that, and they're like, verify your YouTube account. I'm like, I just did that like a month ago. What the fuck? So, that's why I'm late. In case anybody's wondering, you know what? I'm going to play a video. I'm going to heat up the bong and get my tea. I don't have a tea right now. Or my coffee. I made a pot of coffee. That sounds really good. And, and I'll be back and we'll have a nice fat puff. Okay? Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be right back.
But just to go for a second, so, I got to know a lot of the foreign leaders. And let me tell you, unlike our leader, they're at the top of their game. These are like central casting. There's nobody that could play the role in Hollywood. All of Hollywood, nobody can play the role of President Xi of China. Nobody could play the role. He's a fierce person. Putin, fierce. They're smart. A lot of times I'll say somebody's smart and the fake news will go, he called President Xi smart. He rules with an iron fist 1.5 billion people. Yeah, I'd say he's smart. Wouldn't you say he's smart? So I'm with President Xi, and I got along with him very well. Once COVID came, it was just so, but we made a great trade deal with him, helped our farmers, helped our manufacturers, but I'm with him. And I really had a great relationship with him. And then I asked him a question. I said, President, he's president for life, by the way. So I call him King. I say, King. He said, but I am not king. I said, you are to me. You're president for life. It's the same thing. He will be very soon. They're having another. By the way, do you notice a lot of ships are circling Taiwan? That wouldn't have happened either, by the way. But I said, President, could I ask you a very simple question? Do you have a drug problem? He looked at me like, what's wrong with that? No, of course not. He goes, no. He's like, what the hell stupid question is that? No. I said, you don't have a drug problem with 1.5 billion people. His big problem is they make the drugs, they send them into our country. That's their problem. That would have been their problem, and he was stopping it too. But now they're sending the fentanyl in at numbers that you wouldn't believe. Wouldn't believe it. Pouring through that porous border at numbers you wouldn't believe. I had him very close to stopped. He couldn't do it. I told him he can't do it. So, President, you don't have a drug problem. But why don't you have a drug problem? We have quick trial. I said, what is a quick trial? We immediately catch the drug dealer. We give him quick trial. And if he is guilty, which I would say probably they're batting, would you say, Oz, would you say they're about batting 100% or only 99? If the drug dealer is guilty, he is immediately executed. So we have no drug problem in China. And they have other countries like that too, Singapore, other countries. And if you do that, you know, I've told this, and it's a hard thing to say because calling for the death penalty is tough, but think of it. They kill 500 people during a lifetime, and I think it's much worse than that. I think that's only what we hear about. It would stop. If you didn't get it down 75, 80, 90% from day one, I'd be surprised. And these committees that they set up, it's laughable. It's a horrible thing. We would solve that problem so fast, and I'm calling on Republicans and Democrats immediately to get to Washington and institute the death penalty for drug dealers. You will no longer have a problem.
All right, I think that that's an important clip. I'm going to continue playing it because this is the direction the country is headed, to execute drug dealers in the street. Maybe not in the street, but more or less the same thing. This is kangaroo court trials that make examples. We don't need to make examples of anyone except for members of Congress and the White House. Those people, possibly the FBI, the NSA, the DHS. I know I'm forgetting someone. Ready? Woo! All right, so I think I have a few more videos for you. I have the one about the cannabis propaganda, which is ridiculous. And I mean, they take this good news about Wisconsin, that Wisconsin just legalized. They take this good news about one of the states that just legalized, and then they turn it into, oh, but it's the wild, wild west out there with cannabis. You know, like, and they don't call it cannabis, they call it pot. They're like, oh, we have to have safety opening containers and stuff, you know, because I'm worried about children. Do we have the safety opening containers on alcohol? I really don't know. I never open an alcohol bottle. I have very long ago, but it's been very rare in the last 25 years. So, I don't know. Could have changed for all I know. So we are talking about, should a gun for home protection be in a lockbox, which is designed to hold a gun, generally speaking. They call them lockboxes and they call them gun safes. So, I have a lot of opinion on this. But it really boils down to this one thing, right? Well, it's actually two things. In my opinion, well, my dad, one of the things that he used to say all the time, not all the time, but somehow he kind of ingrained it into my brain. I may have only heard it one time, but he used to say, you know, a gun without one in the chamber, an unloaded gun, is just a paperweight. And I have to agree with him. An unloaded gun is a paperweight. And if you have an emergency situation in which you need that gun, you tell me, okay, you have the gun to protect your family, right? And you hear a noise, and you're like, you sit up straight out of bed, and you have your gun safe, your lockbox here, or under your bed. You go to get your lockbox, but you fumble with it because you're nervous and everything's quiet and you don't want to make any noise. And then you have to punch in the code or get the key, and you drop the key on the floor, and then you got to find the key, as opposed to pulling your 9mm out of your nightstand and taking proper stance, at the top of the stairs. You don't want to go looking for people. If they're there, they're coming up the stairs. When they come up the stairs, you cap their ass. Cap them dead center. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Everything's taken care of now. And it's just really basic. Again, if it boils down to an unloaded gun is just a paperweight. This is another thing. I see like this gun in a lockbox, right? And then I see the clip out of it, Why? It's already safely secured, and it's got why is the clip out of it? Okay, you want to fumble for another thing in the dark in an emergency situation? I don't think you do. Okay, and you're like, oh, well, we have kids in the house. We have to make sure they don't. You take the kids when they're fucking 8 years old out into a fucking shooting range, and you have them shoot the handgun. Have them shoot your 9mm. You know what's going to happen? It's going to hurt. It's going to be loud. And it's going to stink. And they're not going to like it. And they're not going to want to do it again. Hello, caller.
Hello, Moxie.
What's up, Jake?
What up? You doing alright, man?
Fine. Sure.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm sure you know who this is. Just been a minute, like I said.
Zebus?
Yep, big baby, you know it.
What's up, Zebus?
Not much, man. Just been chilling and killing with always.
You,
Still working
well-
a ton at that crazy job, doing the school thing.
you're still doing school, huh?
Yeah, I got one more class and then I graduate, though.
Yeah?
That's-
Awesome.
that's-
Congratulations. That's really cool, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just,
So,
actually, anyway.
you ever own a firearm?
No, but I plan on doing that soon.
Right on. Is there a reason that you want to own one?
Mostly for home security purposes,
Personal security or family and home or what?
They're probably, I guess personal home security would be like a bundle package.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I don't want the gun to really leave the house unless it's going to the range or anything.
Why is that?
Well, I mean,
You just said it was for personal security. So you feel that you need a gun, but you're not going to take it with you where you might need it most. Is that right?
I guess I thought you're probably because I don't really leave the house that much, so. That might be it, but you do have a logical point there. I didn't even think about that, or because when I would work at Walmart, this one guy, he's like a manager, and he came by, but he was off the clock one time, and he had the Glock out, open carry style. I'm like, oh, what do you do with that? He's like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm protecting myself. I'm like, oh, okay.
Open carry is fucking awesome, dude. I love open carry. To me, it is the best deterrent on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, because usually nobody's going to try and rob you while you're on the street if they see that you got a gun on your hip.
Nobody gonna fuck with you if you got a fucking 9mm or 45 in your belt, dude. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah. So.
I do happen to have a baseball bat in my car, but I don't know. You can't bring a bat to a gunfight.
A baseball bat is actually good at the home. more or less. But in the street, it's not going to work very well.
Yeah. It's good if like somebody's like running up on my car, like the road raging or something, like, "Why'd you cut me off?" It's like, "This is why I cut you off, motherfucker."
Yeah, they're the one road raging. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, right.
So did you have guns in your house when you were growing up?
Yeah, my dad had a gun, and I would sit there and play with the bullets.
Handgun?
Yeah, it was a Ruger.
And you would play with the bullets when you were how old?
Probably like 9, 10 years old. Like I could get to the bullets, I couldn't get to the gun.
Do you ever shoot the gun?
Well, a couple times when I was a kid, like we went up north.
How
like
old?
Another part, probably like 13, 14.
Yeah.
My
I
dad
think.
was there right next to me, like,
Yeah,
on the side, shoot the bottle. Well, okay, here's the beer bottle.
Well, yeah, you want to be right. Like I said, it hurts, it kicks, it's got, it stings sometimes, it's got a smell to it, it's loud, and you were 13. See, imagine if you do that to an 8 or a 9-year-old. They're going to be like, I don't want anything to do with that. Not that that's what you want their attitude to be, but when they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you want their attitude to be, yeah, it's not a fun thing, and they'll figure that out real fast. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. But I do remember something related to that. I was looking up some discussions about gun control and the whole issue there, and I found some old pictures of these kids, and it's like from the 50s and 60s, and what would happen was a local member of the police department would come by with a gun and talk about gun safety with the gun, and like, here, this is the gun, this is, what it does. But I don't think he loaded it. I think he just showed it off to the kids and be like, this is how you properly maintain the firearm, this is what you do, this is why you shouldn't shoot it. So, I think that was the aspect was like, they go to these elementary schools back in the 50s and 60s and go, if you do this with a gun, bad things will happen. So make sure that if you have a gun at your house, that you maintain that. So
Yeah.
I always wonder why we don't do that anymore.
I think they don't want people to be safe. They don't want the streets to be safe. I think all this is by design, and it makes it so that the people are less likely to come together and less likely to rise up against the real enemy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everything's about dividing us nowadays. Getting us mad at each other based on this, that, and the other thing. So I guess if you're living in fear of like going outside because you're afraid of somebody shooting you because of the way the gun violence thing is nowadays, and yeah, that would be part of the reason behind it. Because if you're afraid of everybody else shooting you, how are you able to unite against the government that really wants to shoot you?
Yeah, if
doesn't want to shoot you, but definitely wouldn't mind giving them a reason to.
Well, and the programming now is that people that have guns are bad, So, which is fucking idiotic, man. I mean, it's in order to focus all of these bullshit laws onto law-abiding citizens, good people. They say, oh, people who have guns are bad, and they brainwash the general population with that, and then they want more gun laws, not even for a second understanding that the gun laws don't apply to the criminals. They don't give a fuck about your gun laws. Jeez.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing about like in Chicago, like they got rid of people being able to legally own guns. So how are you going to get rid of people illegally owning guns?
Well, not only that, that encourages the bad people to have guns because they know no one else can defend themselves. So they're like, it's a double-edged sword. It's really bad that the guns have been so vilified by a very small percentage of incidents. There's this small percentage, and it makes it really. I think it really discourages people who would be very responsible gun owners and could probably make their communities a much safer place from actually getting a gun, because again, only bad people have guns. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like that they changed. I think it was earlier this year, either Indiana or Illinois, but they changed the law in one state to where you could have more open carry, and that's what happened was they had a mall shooting but the mall shooting was stopped because the guy was there, the good guy with a gun was there to stop the bad guy with a gun.
Right.
And then they talked about, oh God, look at this guy with this gun. I can't believe he shot the guy with the gun that was shooting people who don't have guns. Like, do you guys understand that if it wasn't for that guy, there would have shot, the bad guy with the gun would have shot a lot more people until the cops showed up?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they do. Again, I think that their brains have been programmed to somehow, like, you know, just think that anybody with a gun is not good, unless, of course, you're law enforcement, which is probably the opposite of truth. I mean, if you look at the Uvalde situation, right, all that happened was the cops got in the way. If the cops weren't there, the fucking parents would have fucking got up and shut that shit down. It would have been shut the fuck down in like, what, 5 minutes? You know?
Oh, yeah.
And it only would have took 3 of them. It only would have took 3 of them to do it. Possibly 1. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree there. They had half the police department in there giving the camera footage, and there was like running around like a bunch of scalded dogs.
Yeah,
All the
right.
parents are outside trying to get in there with their own guns, but they're arresting them to make them, that way they're like, oh, we gotta handle this. No, you don't.
You're not
You don't have
handling
a
it.
handle of this.
You're not, yeah.
Yeah, what happened in Uvalde is a crime, and there should be somebody who should have been held accountable for that. But they just made a report and like, oh, okay, we can bury this now because we'll just find another shooting to talk about. You know?
Right. Again, cops are just janitors. They come in to clean up. They don't protect anybody.
I agree. They're a reactionary force. You know, they're there to react to events. They're there to observe and report. They're not there to be preventative.
Right.
You are the prevention. You know, you prevent the crime being done to yourself.
Or
Not
others.
the crime that is done to you.
If you're packing, you have the ability to, at that point, also protect others. As you were talking about the mall shooter, you know?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, protecting, you're able to be proactive while the police have to be reactive because that's part of their job. You know? They don't legally, like I forgot the name of the court case, but there was a court case in the Supreme Court that said that the police don't have to defend you. They could just stand there and just watch you get shot.
Right.
And it's perfectly fine and legal because their job isn't to defend you. Their job is to defend themselves in the department and then make reports based on the crime that happened. So they have to wait for you to get shot to be able to do something.
In order to fill out their report, yeah.
Exactly. And then they could shoot some people.
Yeah. It's really obvious to anybody that the cops aren't doing anything to prevent crime. The cops aren't doing anything to protect the people. Okay? So that means the people have to protect themselves and their neighborhoods and their families and their friends. Okay? So stop acting like somehow the police are there to make sure our neighborhoods are safe, because obviously that's not happening.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's because it's about job security with them. You know, if the crime levels go down, then they lose their jobs because we don't need you anymore because the crime went down.
Right.
So as long as
Conflicting.
the crime stays the same, I can keep my job.
Right.
You know?
It's
So they need
not only can they keep their job, they'll get more money, and they'll get more people to help them out with their job that they're not already doing, and it's just like that. There's this conflicting interest. You know, it's like fucking for-profit medicine. For-profit medicine needs sick people. And that seems like a really major conflict of interest in case anybody in the planet didn't get pushed to take the vaccine, just in case, because as far as I can tell, everybody got pushed to take it.
Oh, yeah. I was 2 weeks away from getting fired for not taking the vaccine. 2 weeks, I was going to get fired.
Yeah.
And then they finally repealed the mandate and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy that they did that because you're right. It's not, you know, the American healthcare system isn't about healthcare. It's about making sure people are healthy enough to keep paying the bills.
Yeah.
Care.
Yeah. And the bills being a big part of those being health care. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 25% of our gross domestic product is healthcare expenses. The next largest one is Switzerland, and you know how much that is? 11%.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's a show, and they have a public option. The thing that we were supposed to get for voting for frickin' Sleepy Joe. But I could go on all day about that. stupid healthcare thing, and they screwed that up. But I get you about the whole gun issue here. You know, it seems like a lot of people want to make guns the problem, and not like the mental health issue and all these people and the economy, which drives people to have to go into a life of crime to be able to support their families and stuff. That's the real issue behind the gun issue.
There's
People
no.
want to look at it. It's like there's a surface level analysis where it's like, oh, guns are always the problem, and then you get it, and then the people that really dig deep go, oh, there's a mental health crisis. Oh, there's a bad economy which causes people to need to go to crime because they can't afford to take care of their kids and put food on the table because there's no jobs in the inner cities anymore. And then you just dig deeper and deeper and find the real causes of all this gun violence. On top of the police needing crime. That's why I like to do all these gun buybacks, and then they scratch out the serial numbers, and what do you know? They end up in the hands of all these gangs and other criminals because they don't buy the guns back to get rid of them. They buy the guns back to give them to create more crime. So that way they can go, oh, okay. It's kind of like like the whole drug issue. That they need. It's like how the CIA peddles drugs. So that way the local departments and the DEA can go, oh, we still need to go after all this crack cocaine because the crack cocaine keeps coming in here. But then you look and you find a CIA plane that crashed in Mexico that was full of crack cocaine. I wonder who's bringing in all the drugs.
Again, the CIA controls all the poppy fields in Afghanistan. We've seen the U.S. military troops guarding them. The black, as I've said again and again, the key to stopping all this violence is getting rid of the black market. You get rid of the black market, and you're gonna stop 90% of the you're gonna stop about 50% plus of crime. So
exactly, just like when they made prohibition of alcohol,
Yeah.
Like they didn't stop people from drinking. They just made it a really easy thing for criminals here. Like here in Detroit, they had the Purple King. Have you ever heard of the Purple King?
No, I don't think so.
There was this Al Capone. See, what they did was they bought Canadian rum from Canada, because guess what? It was still legal over there. So they bring it across the Detroit River, and then they sell it to Al Capone. So it was like a gang of Jewish immigrants that basically took over the east side of Detroit and would just start peddling liquor all over town and created speakeasies and stuff. The only reason why they fell down was because they literally dragged a radio announcer out of his, because this radio announcer was on the air and talking about the Purple Gang. So the Purple Gang went to the radio station. This is back before TV, and they dragged him out of the radio station, put him right there in the middle of Woodward Avenue, one of the big streets around here. Boom! Blew his brains out right there in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
That's when people went, okay, we need to do something about this. And now, here we are.
It's not we need to do something about this. It's this doesn't work. This doesn't work.
Exactly.
You go ahead with your prohibition and your black market, and you know what you get? You get a heroin epidemic. You get a meth epidemic. You get a fentanyl epidemic. You get an overdose epidemic. Okay? Yeah, we'll just keep doing what we've been doing for the last 60 years. Obviously, it's been working great. Fuck!
For them. It's working great for them. Because they get to, keep the budgets going and the billions of dollars going into their finances.
Yeah, but even people who seem reasonably minded, you start talking about legalizing meth, and they fucking lose their shit, dude. Yeah, because obviously laws against it are keeping people from doing meth. Fuck.
Exactly. It's like the same people that are mad about gun control, or not they're like, oh, we can't have gun control laws because if we try to control guns, well, they're bad. But then you're like, oh, okay, well then at the same point we should legalize drugs. Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah, right. Freedom only applies to me, dickwad.
Isn't that the damn truth?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, you gotta be real here, buddy.
Well,
But I agree.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree on that whole statement, though. It's just, when you look at it throughout history, every time we try to, you can't, that's the ultimate lesson of prohibition. You can't legislate morality. You just can't legislate morals.
You can, but it doesn't work. You can, but it doesn't work. You
Okay,
can legislate
yeah.
morality all you want. It does not work. You can open
Yeah.
fucking prison camps, for-profit prison camps, and store hundreds of thousands of people there, and it's not going to work. So
Yeah, just look at California, and they got a larger prison population in some countries. Is that solve the drug problem over there? Nope.
no, it's not. And it's really easy to do, man. You just get rid of the black market. You put a party store on, easily accessible to pretty much everybody, over 21.
Exactly.
And the
You
problem-
give people that choice, and then if they fall apart and then they go into that addiction thing, then you go into the Portugal system where you try to, get them into therapy and like try to drug treatment programs.
Well, no, that's a big- no, look,
crisis,
that's-
not as a crime problem.
Look, Portugal is a great example, and the thing is that I think you can do that completely voluntarily. I think you can hand out in every bag. You got to take your shit out of the store in a bag, and in every bag there's a flyer that says, "Do you need help?" Or it's printed right there on the bag. Even better idea, with a phone number, and it's not illegal. Okay, the shit's not illegal, so people don't have to crawl out of the fucking shadows, all afraid that their family might find out, or the police might find out, or their job might find out. They can go, yeah, I need some help. I don't want to get this shit's getting out of control. People, they don't have to be fucking junkies to realize this shit's. I need to do something about this,
Yeah, we actually have a program like that around here in Michigan where it's called Help Not Handcuffs. Where like, if you go to the police station and you go, hey, I got this drug-related issue. I know I could go to jail, but I need help in trying to get through the drug treatment system. Well, they send somebody. They call them an angel.
Yeah.
So they send an angel to be able to go with you into the police station and go, okay, well, I will sponsor this person. We'll find them a drug treatment system. We will help them get off of heroin, crack,
Yeah.
or whatever, even if it's alcohol, even
Yeah.
if they drink too much
Right.
liquor and they keep getting caught drinking and driving.
right?
You know?
And
There's ways to help people instead
Yeah.
of just throwing them away, locking the key.
Right.
Oh, thanks, Joe Biden.
right, and like you're saying, people are doing this voluntarily. Again, imagine if it was on every bag that you walked out of the party store with. We can help. And this person that he's talking about needed help, recognized it, and was brave enough to go to the police station. And that's just an example. Lots of people are going to the police station to say, I'm in over my head and I don't know what to do. Boom, call the phone number on the bag, on every bag that goes out of the party store. We're here to help.
Yeah. Because they'll be all fucked up and hacked up on goofballs, and then they'll go, you know what? And then they'll have that moment of clarity. I need to do this. That's what happened with me after a while. Let's say, because I was drinking every night, smoking every night. Trying to fill a hole in my body or my soul, if you don't mind the expression.
No, I understand that, but you don't have. But you're not talking about weed, right?
Well, it was a combination. It was like I was drinking vodka like crazy while smoking weed,
Yeah.
and I started doing lean, and then I was doing zany bars and stuff. I was doing all kinds of shit, and then I
Right.
just started.
Well, I'm
realizing
just
one day,
saying,
I'm like, I need help.
what I'm saying is if it was just weed, I don't see how that could be a problem. But go ahead.
Well, no, I got a medical card now. Actually, I barely.
Right. Instead of
I've
it being
only
a
got, like,
problem,
2 years.
it helps. Instead of it being,
Yeah, it does.
instead of it being this thing that, gets you in over your head, it's this thing that helps you fucking get rid of the anxiety and the stress, and it's good for you. Go ahead.
I agree. That's why I've always recommended, like, for people who are on harder drugs like crack cocaine and heroin and all the other stuff, that they could, it's like they could go to get a medical card, because I think like that would be a medicinal reason to get a card for cannabis. Is like, okay, I'm tired of doing heroin, I'm tired of doing crack cocaine. Let me switch to weed, and then that will actually be beneficial because our brains have THC receptors, not heroin receptors.
Right, cannabinoid receptors. If you want to understand it, Google cannabinoid receptors. But you have to kind of eat the cannabis to really get the benefits of that thoroughly. But yeah, But yeah,
my
one.
birthday's this Sunday. I should go get. I need to like buy some pot brownies or something.
No, I mean, do they have like really good pot brownies at the dispensary?
I don't know. Well, I was actually gonna do the home remedy.
Oh, well, that's what you want to do.
Actually, make my own.
Yeah, that's what you want to
Somebody
do.
was too potent, and I'd eat like one of them, and I passed out for like 5 hours, and wake up. Oh man, that brownie was too good.
Well, no, what you do, see, the problem is people wait until the end of the day. And they're all kind of wore out then, and then they eat their brownie and they go, because they're relaxed, right? What you do is you eat your brownie at the beginning of the day, and then you go about your day, and you go, damn, that's a fucking good brownie.
Damn, so where'd you find this?
I do that all the time. I'm like, man, those cookies are good.
Oh man!
So
I definitely, I'm gonna talk to my. I got a caregiver, you know, because I got the medical card myself. I'm not talking about giving me some oil this weekend. I might go buy some brownies or cookies. I might make my. I want to bake something. I haven't made pot brownies in about 5 years, and you know what? Gonna have some fun on my birthday here. I took the whole week off after that, so I definitely have some time to enjoy those brownies.
it sounds like it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is probably my first vacation I've had since 2015.
Well,
It's been a long time since I've been on
that's
vacation.
fucked up.
No, that's just how, you know, that's how society is. Like, you know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck like I've been since, like I said, 2015, it's difficult to be able to take time off when you're constantly needing to generate income just to be able to stay afloat.
Yeah.
Like most Americans do. Which is unfortunate, but that, you know, that goes into, like we said about the underlying conditions and why people have to do the drug abuse and the crime and stuff. Because, you know, it's like my boy Jimmy Dore says, you know, it's at least 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. How's anybody going to be able to survive? How's anybody going to be able to go on vacation?
My whole life has been a vacation, except for, you know, having to deal with the man and stuff. I have just skated through life, dude. I recommend waiting tables. Okay, you wait you wait tables in a nice restaurant. You can go anywhere. You can live in ski resorts. You can live in Maui. You can live anywhere. You know, and then you get you work 4 hours a day serving good food. You know, you work at the proper place, and maybe with a nice view. When I worked in Tahoe, right, it was considered to be one of the top 5 restaurants in the world, and it had the most beautiful sun. I lived on the west coast of Maui for 2 years, and in Tahoe, I saw the most beautiful sunsets anywhere. So, and you made bank every night. You could go out and blow every penny you make, because you know what? Tomorrow, there's going to be a nice meal at your restaurant waiting for you. And on top of that, you're going to make more cash tomorrow. And on top of that, you're going to get a paycheck in 2 weeks. So if you want to work 4 hours a day, 2 or 3 days a week, you can do that.
Yeah. Then you get some dooku bucks off with some tips there on the fly, and you're good to go.
That's what I always did. That's what I always did after I started working. You know, my dad told me, he said, be smart, don't break your back making money. So.
Yeah, that's my problem. I've worked too hard for too long, and you know I'm getting sick of this physical labor crap. But that's because I made a whole bunch of wrong choices, like listen to an ex-girlfriend.
Well, stop being such a stupid fuck.
Yeah, I know, right?
You're not eating enough cannabis, dude. I mean, that's a big part of it. And if you just relax, I can hear it in your voice that you're like really nervous about something. So
I haven't smoked weed in a couple of weeks. I've been trying to cut back because the money hasn't been that good lately. So I'm you know, once I get this degree and I can get an IT job where I don't have the drug test, I'll be good. I just got to go through the tough times here today. It's been stressful, you know, this job and this class and
well,
let's
do yourself a favor and make some brownies on your birthday, and I bet you get rid of a lot of that anxiety.
Yeah, I'm gonna next week is gonna be the first time I can actually relax because I'm working on trying to get all my schoolwork done so that way I spend most of the week just chilling instead of having to like stress about the schoolwork.
Right on.
Because that's what I need. Because I got midterms this week, which means I ain't got to do shit next week.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a really good birthday, dude. And like I
I
said,
do appreciate that.
just do yourself a favor and make some fucking brownies. You know how to make brownies, right?
Yeah, I've done it before. I'm just gonna buy some mix and then fill in the oil because I'm gonna buy mix with the oil. So that way, I ain't gotta worry about any of that. Because
Yeah.
I was trying coconut oil, but I think they make some other oil. I'm gonna talk to them about it.
Yeah.
See what I can get out of it. Whatever kind of oil or other substance I can get. If I can get it, I'll just go to the fucking dispensary and go buy a cookie or two.
Yeah.
There's a couple of dispensaries nearby. I wait for this one. It's literally down the street
Just go and get yourself a 1/4 ounce of good weed or a 1/2 ounce of good weed and
That's what I was gonna
make some butter out of that. Make a 1/2 pound or a pound of butter out of that, and then you'll have fucking 3 fucking batches of brownies waiting for you in the freezer when you're ready. And you should, if you make cookies instead of brownies, right? You can take those cookies and put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer, and then they come out of the freezer just fucking perfect, man. I don't know how brownies come out of the freezer, but my cookies come out of the freezer excellent. So,
Some cookies and milk that sound pretty good right about now.
right about now,
Right about now.
Funk Soul
Yeah,
Brother,
so-
check it out now. Listen, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Do your thing.
I,
It was a good conversation. It was
Yeah.
a couple minutes, and I thought I'd have a good chat with you, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the things you said.
yeah,
I'm
look,
glad we
dude.
talked about the gun issue and everything.
Yeah.
It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear from you, and I think that again, it's so obvious when people aren't eating enough cannabis, and I talk to them for just a few minutes. I have a friend who had a friend who came over the other day, and he was talking about all these people road raging, and I could hear that he's road raging too. Mister, this is why I cut you off.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, you're not eating enough cannabis. And he's like, rah, rah, rah. And I said, dude, you're not, he's like old school. And he goes, yeah, you're right. Because it just totally fucking changes, it takes the edge off where that shit is just not important,
Yeah, you stress out about so much shit in life, and then you smoke a bag, and you're like, wait, what was I worried about now?
Or you start with the cookie in the morning and then you don't stress out.
Yeah, I could take a cookie with me, and then on my birthday, no, I'm kidding, I'm not going to do that word.
All right. I got to talk to you.
All right.
Z, it's really good to hear from you, okay? And you
Yeah,
should
it's
call
really good
back
to hear
more
from you,
often.
Monty.
You should call back more
I'll try my
often.
best to. After I get this degree, definitely. I'm,
Well-
I'm just
Well, if you got
job and everything.
when you got your week off, give us a call, okay?
Okay, I'll call you sometime next week then.
Okay, good.
All right, be safe, Moxie.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
I'm going to go and get my tea. And, I wanted to say something to Katrina. She said that she has you have a 25 caliber, is that right? And you were saying, does that count as a gun? No, it doesn't count as a gun. If somebody's got one of those really thick hoodies on, it's not going to penetrate. If it does, it's going to feel like a bee sting. Which, that'll light somebody's eyes up, but my dad used to tell me, he would say, you 38, you can't carry a 38. 38 is a stupid gun. 38 caliber, 25 caliber. 38 is stupid because you're only going to piss a big guy off, right? You're just going to piss that guy off. You need something a little bigger, girl. I know you can handle the big stuff. Let's see. So I'm going to play a video. I got some lovely cannabis propaganda for you here. Or should we do the credit card tracking gun purchases? Let's do that one. That's what the show is about. And then we'll come back and we'll do the cannabis propaganda. Be right back.
The tracking never ends. This time it's legal gun purchases, but it's not just the government doing it. Now it's your credit card company. Amex, MasterCard, Visa reportedly taking steps to keep tabs on firearm sales and purchases. They're said to be doing it in light of recent mass shootings and other gun-related violence. The NRA claims it's actually setting up a gun registry of owners that the government could one day exploit. The card companies say they'll respect your privacy. Wink. But could this open the door not only to track law-abiding citizens, but also other legal transactions? The party panel is back. Carol Markowitz, Leslie Marshall, and Shane Hazel. What can go wrong here, Carol?
You know, this is ridiculous, and a lot of conservatives will rightly say that we need a parallel economy because of stuff like this. They keep going too far, and they're really pushing people to the fringe where we're gonna need to form our own, you know, credit card companies or banks and the rest of it. Guns are legal and protected by the Second Amendment. There's no reason they should be categorized separately. And anyone celebrating this has to realize that something like legal marijuana or alcohol or, hey, abortions could be next.
They could be next, Leslie. And when the party you don't like is in charge, they will use this logic to come after the stuff that you hold sacred.
They're already doing it, and this hasn't gone into law. So I'm not going to live that way. And I think this is actually helpful for law enforcement. I think when we have the number of mass shootings that we do, it's unprecedented in this country compared to the rest of the nations in the world. Something has to be done. And I also think that we're pretty ignorant if we don't think it's kind of already being done. I know the other day I was looking at a pair of jeans online. Within 10 minutes, I get all these different stores sending me things about jeans. Now, I know that's not
because you
the
didn't
government,
reject
I know
cookies
that's the
on your
internet,
websites.
Right, but these are private companies. You know, everybody knows pretty much everything we do. I'm not worried because I'm not doing anything wrong.
Is that a good mentality, Shane? I'm not doing anything wrong, so you can go ahead, government, and do whatever you want to me because I don't have anything to worry about.
It's like saying, I don't have anything to say, so I don't care about free speech. The biggest mass murderer in the world is and has always been the government. Yes, it is. And it's absolutely true. They've killed almost 200 million people in the last century alone. If there's anybody who should be disarmed, it's the government. And it's time to start going on offense about this. The other side of this is where we get to look at what I mentioned earlier, Bitcoin, a parallel economy that doesn't allow anybody to stop your transaction. So if you want to buy a ghost gun with Bitcoin, good luck, ATF, which should be abolished like the rest of those guys. We have a moral imperative at this point to go out and take a stand against this. The credit card companies are not going to do it. The government's obviously not going to do it. The banks are going to come after your bank accounts when they go to CBDCs. So you better start thinking about the exit points now because this is happening, and they are also tracking your data with iPhones and Androids and everything else that's Meta. All of those things that you do in a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, which is coming your way, that's going to be manipulated against you and the people who you're around and the people that you frequent in terms of business. So get ready, strap in, because this quantitative easing to infinity is coming hard and fast. And I'll make a prediction, Kennedy. When this all goes really, really south and the dollar as reserve currency is locked, I guess, taken on by the media, what they're going to say is the U.S. was extremely not cautious enough with the reserve currency. We're going to move the CBDC to the World Economic Forum's IMF, and now it's going to be controlled by Klaus Schwab and the gang over in Europe. Watch.
No mercy. But I think, Carol, you bring up the best point, which is, you know, it's like if the point is to save lives, then conservatives will say, well, there's so many cirrhotic livers. We have to save people from alcohol. We have to track how much alcohol people are buying. We have to really keep track of birth control and, you know, the morning after pill and see who's buying that and keep tabs on it because we have to save lives. And once you use that sanctimonious umbrella, let the morality reign on your parade and your civil liberties.
That's absolutely right. You know, for the children can be used for any number of things. And I bet that conservatives will find a way to use that when getting credit card companies to segregate those purchases. And, you know, this is where we're heading. And it's really unfortunate. These businesses just stay out of people's private lives. This is a legal purchase. It's not like they're buying it, you know, on the street corner with their credit card. It has to be treated the same way that any other purchase is treated.
Infrastructure is childcare. All right. Meanwhile, President Biden telling everyone that he plans to run for re-election in 2024 when he'll be 84 years old when he's sworn in again.
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have. Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have. Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have.
Just in time. Which video was that? Ah, yes, Kennedy. Again, this is the vilification of the gun owners, and to me, it just doesn't make any sense because you know, it's like, oh, we're tracking these people now, but do they need to be tracked? Why do you need to track them? Of course, everybody's being tracked. You know, you got your cell phone, it watches everywhere you go. It knows everything you say. It knows everywhere you go. Craig goes to this pizza place, which shall remain unnamed, and gets a couple pies, right? And then he comes home 2 hours later and he's watching YouTube on the big screen, and it's like the ads keep popping up for this pizza place, the same one he just went to. It's watching you. Big Brother, you know, there's no privacy. There's no pretend privacy. There's just Big Brother. And Big Brother sees you as a threat. And you know why Big Brother sees you as a threat? Because you are. And you know what? If you're armed, you're an even bigger threat. And so we have to keep track of you. You know, good, law-abiding citizens who do nothing except for exert their rights, you know, as a U.S. citizen. And because of that, they're tracked by the government. But again, the government's tracking everything. This is part of the reason I don't carry a cell phone, besides the fact that I don't want to be these people who can't put their cell phone down. I don't want to be tracked everywhere. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. You know, I don't know where they would track me to. You know, the Kroger, the Winco. You know, I don't even go to the cannabis store. You know, I don't go to fucking Starbucks. I don't go to the pizza place. So I go to the park. You know. But regardless, I don't want someone tracking me. I don't want, because, and it's not that I'm doing anything. I don't need, you know, a spy. I don't need to bring a spy along with me. And I don't know if you heard this, the My Pillow guy, again, not a paid endorsement. The My Pillow guy, Mike Rendell, who is now selling coffee and slippers, and sheets, and anything else that he can get people to buy. I'm sorry to say people, I meant suckers. This is the best coffee you'll ever have. He had the FBI show up at his work, I guess, in the parking lot where he keeps his car, and I listened to him talk about it today, and he was saying the FBI demanded his cell phone, would not let him leave with his cell phone. So, and it's because pillows are very dangerous. So, what I see I don't understand why that they need his cell phone. They're already tracking everything people do. They're already collecting every message that they send, all their calendars, they're all up your ass in your fucking cell phone. Why do they need to take it? Just to fuck with you, apparently, because your entire business runs on your cell phone. Because the he said that his hearing aids are controlled by his cell phone. So it's just to fuck with people. They already have all that information. They're just there to fuck with people. And next week I think we'll do a show about the FBI. That should be interesting. All right. I'm going to play another video. The telephone number's up there on the screen. You don't have to call. There's not a lot of people here. I understand. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, we are talking about guns. And when we recap so far, Baby Z, who was the last caller, was saying that he was wanting to get a gun for personal security. And then he said, but I don't plan on ever leaving the house except for to go to the gun range. And I was like, why? Because if you're going to get a gun for personal security, you might want to take that gun for personal security where you're going to need it most, as opposed to, in your house where 99.999% of you are never going to need it. Hello, caller.
We're talking about guns.
No.
No, yes, we are.
What's up, G?
I love guns. No, man, I love guns, man.
Well, why do you tell us why you love guns?
Well, first off, I understand guns. I get it, and I understand why guns are important.
When you say you get it, when you say I understand guns, I get it. What does that mean? I get it.
I understand the reason why you would want a firearm, right?
Yeah.
The moral way.
Right.
Not the unmoral way. The reason why you want a firearm is to do something bad with it, right?
Yeah.
And when I say bad, I'm not talking about hunting and, killing deer and animals for fun. I just mean like, you want a firearm because you want to take something away from somebody, or you want to do harm to somebody because you can't express yourself any other way.
I feel like a lot of people actually get guns because it makes them feel, not as afraid or something, or it makes them feel, like I don't know. But yeah,
cowboy.
Yeah, there you go.
That's all.
Yeah.
Like when you're a little kid, you're told if you get a gun, you can pow, you can play in the neighborhood. And it's all, and I don't think it was intentional. It was just, that was the heroes back when our fathers or grandfathers were growing up, was the cowboys. And they rode around and they obeyed the law and they saved the damsel in distress and everything like that. And that's what we wanted to be. But then it turned out that's the only way we can communicate. So that's the problem now, Mark.
Yeah, communication, division is the problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well no, not even division. Just I've been kind of in this wormhole for the past couple of months about all these rappers getting murdered.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like just one the other day. Eating at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles restaurant in L.A. They went up in there, tried to rob them, killed them, and it's just, those are the ones I'm talking about who had those bad intentions with firearms.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to just bad parenting at the end of the day.
You think so, really?
Well,
I mean,
just say bad environment.
Yeah, there you go. Because I can see,
Thank you.
you know, it's so easy to see a single mom doing everything
Yeah.
she can, and
It's a bad environment.
Yeah.
The school, the bus, you know, what type of education the baby daddy had, she had, or either, I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was talking about, a lot of the trauma when it comes to addiction happens when they're very young, from when they're in the womb to what environment they grew up in, you know, at a very young age.
Yeah.
That pretty much causes addiction. And the guy was like, well, is it, you know, like hereditary? And he was like, you can look at genes any way you want to, but at the end of the day, it always comes back to some form of trauma at a very young age. And I think that's what we are at right now. Like, it's going to get worse, Mark. You know, when it comes to, like, the gun thing and shit like that. And you just got to keep your head on the swivel, boss.
gonna get worse. Meaning the crime thing, or the.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get worse because these people are not voted at birth.
Yeah, but I mean, are you
So,
saying? Are you
if-
gonna say? Are you saying the vilification of law-abiding gun owners is gonna get worse, or?
No, I would say that the ability of the law-abiding gun owner is really never going to be able to show up because it's just going to be so overwhelming of crime. This is just me. It's not going to be every town or every major city, but with the availability of guns and a lot of communities with no real satisfactory jobs for these young men, because it's all young men, let's be honest. You know, so there's nothing you can really do but just start jailing people forever at a very young age to get them off the street. But then you got to get up in there and retrain and re-educate, and America's not willing to spend that money on those communities when it comes to all these crimes. So, of course, government is like, well, how do we do this? Do we will take the guns away? That's the struggle with the government because they just don't want to deal with that situation of their population and put money into it to fix it, which may be a 30 to 40 year, you know, project. So it really just comes down to that shit.
I don't think it's a 30 or 40 year project. I mean, it's like, I get that would be, I think it's longer than that. It's kind of like a perpetual project. Like, we have to stay on this. We can't just, that's what happened is somebody, you know, let the ball, you know, fall. And because of that, there's no guidance. You know, this fucked up world, man, there's no guidance. People are just taught to make money.
Well, it's what it comes down to, Mark. It's primitive here. It's just no more lying. You know, there's no more like people who really make decisions for a prize. And other lions made decisions, and they would navigate through the other prize territory when they had to walk through it, so there would never be a conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now you only really got about 2 or 3 tribes that really run the entire country. So you can pick and choose a company, a corporation, or a certain sect of wealthy people. Pretty much that's how everything is controlled now. So you have a bunch of hyenas and jackals who's just running around, to be honest, just tearing each other apart. And nobody really wants to invest in just those communities, whether it be the school system, you know, and or whatever, you know. But yeah, we got problems about it.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, the schools should be the #1 priority. I mean, especially, you know, K through 12. That's where, like you're saying, the trauma starts at the very beginning. And if they can just, I think that people have to be taught empathy. No one's taught empathy, and it should be a class every fucking year, man. So because the picking, the bullying, the fucking, you know, hurting people because it's fun or whatever, it would stop. 90% of it would stop if they were just, you know, properly taught that, you know, these people aren't the problem, you know.
You know what's funny, Mark?
Yeah.
The podcast I was listening to earlier, the guy was talking about it all starts like when the child is born.
Yeah, you
Like,
said that. You said in the womb. You said in the womb.
Yeah, but it starts like whenever. Come on, you've been around children where someone will say, "Man, quit holding that baby. You're gonna spoil it," right?
Okay. No.
Okay.
I've done my best to spend as little time around babies as possible.
All right. But anyway, they're saying, "Man, go and put that baby down before you spoil it. You don't want to be held all the time." And then we're like the baby be crying, and they're like, "Don't go and pick that baby up. Don't let it cry itself to sleep."
Yeah.
That right there, listen to me, it traumatizes that baby.
Yeah.
Meaning when you let it sit there and cry, right? And the guy was like, do you ever hear of like a bear just to sit there and hear its cub cry and scream and tank, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because you hear no other animals do that. They go to their cubs to see what's going on. But we're taught, hey, to make them tough. And what happens is they grow up and that trauma's in them.
Yeah.
And it can create so many problems, what they were saying. And then I started looking at my kids and like, wow, like my son, I was gone for 2 years in combat. And I leave 6 months. I come back with 18 months. 12, 13 months later or whatever, I leave again. I come back and fucking 40 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, like that's trauma. Daddy never was there. And then my older daughter, Daddy never was there for combat stores and shit like that. And then my youngest two, Daddy always been there. So it's like, okay, so I can see what the guy was talking about, the trauma and stuff like that. Because me and my son have a very unique relationship, but he's very close to his mother because his mother was always there.
Well, it's really good that he's close to his mom, dude. I mean, that's what you want.
Oh, dude, they're best friends.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
By the way, Mom.
Yeah.
He did a little thing with Disney University the other night.
Cool.
So,
That's kick-ass, dude.
Hey, now it looked like a little, he like, hey, can I get some information? So he sent him some information. He signed up, for like a teleconference with some other kids that is already in the university.
Yeah.
Hey, sky's the limit, man.
That's exactly what that should be. The limit should be the skies.
Yeah. Yeah, but on the whole gun thing, Mom,
Did you grow up with guns in your house?
Squirrel hunting, yeah. 410s, 22 rifles, yeah. Every gun, yeah.
Yeah, that's and you were trained to use them and all that, right?
Oh yeah, by some rednecks in North Carolina, and literally, we're just listen. My uncle took me squirrel hunting with my two cousins.
Yeah.
And they've been hunting before, not me. So I'm the oldest. I might have been like, let's just say 9. Maybe 12, and one might have been like 7 and 6.
Wow.
And we're running around literally shooting at squirrels with a 410 shotgun apiece. Literally damn near shooting at each other, and the squirrels are jumping from tree to tree. And it's just like redneck hunting. Like Mom was in her hat, and like, hey, just don't shoot each other. These guys. Yeah, literally. Yeah, in Fort City, North Carolina, man.
Oh man.
But
we gotta make a movie with a scene like that, dude. People will fucking fall out of their chairs.
But that doesn't make a good gun owner. Just going up around with guns doesn't make a good gun owner. I think what makes a good gun owner is a stable person who can deal with stress at all levels. Meaning if he just gets pissed off because someone pulls out in front of him, if he gets frustrated because somebody else has a bad day and he goes and does something with a gun, that's not a stable person. And I think it comes down to is just responsibility to be, at the end of the day, a real adult with something that you can spend $1 on, meaning a bullet, it can take somebody's life.
Yeah.
You gotta be, that's a big responsibility. I have plenty of bullets upstairs. You know what I'm saying? And I can easily go do dumb shit with it, but why would I want to do that? I'm a responsible fucking adult.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at nobody.
Yeah.
You can't really piss me off to that level unless you're trying to hurt my family. Yeah,
I hear you, man. That's partially why I don't have that. is because I didn't want to have to go to that level. That's why I don't have to have a gun, But I hear you, man. I think that it's incredibly dangerous, and you have to be incredibly responsible with the gun. You're saying that I don't think that this kind of person should have a gun. I mean, what percentage of people? And you're talking about stress and giving in, not being able to deal with certain levels of stress. What percentage of the population do you think is that? Because you said all levels of stress. I mean, that seems like a very small percentage of the population.
Well, Mark, I believe that our society has been damaged so much that you would literally, to make responsible gun owners, you have to go in like every fucking neighborhood in the country and just teach them that everything they knew was wrong. Literally, that's what you have to do. If you disagree with somebody, like say your spouse, you just can't punch her in the mouth. Because that happens on every fucking street in America.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it starts right there because those kids grow up and see that, and that's where that damage comes from, that quick temper, and he might have grew up with guns in the house, or might have never, or every time a gun was in his house, it was for illegal activity or whatever. You got to stop the behavior as quick as you can. So I don't, there's felons out there who are responsible gun owners. I know of felons who own guns, and they're not committing crimes. They was young when they became a felony, or felon when for some, they had some weed in their pocket or something.
Right.
Because that's how the dumb laws are.
Yeah.
And it damaged all these people. So, but you know what? They're good gun owners, man. They go to gun ranges. They shoot. But they're not promoting it, and they use it to protect their homes. They're not riding around with it like there was some young idiot, juvenile, that has all this testosterone, but he's never been around a father or someone in his community to guide him in the right direction. So,
yeah, but I mean,
all that dumbass behavior hurts all the other gun owners. And also those kids that see all that damage, those are some of those lone wolf school shooters and mall shooters,
sure,
and 4th of July shooters.
Yeah,
with those guys. So all that damage comes from childhood. And honestly, I really think that needs to be promoted, like in all the news media, and say, listen, if you was a bad parent and you damaged your kid, your motherfucking kid may go shoot some shit up. And that's sad.
Yeah, that's horrible. And it should be taught. It should be. That's another thing. Is there doesn't seem to be any real parenting, classes or anything. It's like that. I don't know why. I mean, they're teaching kids about transsexuals. You think that there'd be proper parenting classes, right?
But you know what, though, Mark? That's the problem. This is the problem. You got half the country that says, I don't want government in my house, in my life, period. Then you have other people say, well, I need the government for X, Y, and Z. Like what? It's not the government's responsibility to be a fucking mom and a dad.
They're not babysitters. They're not babysitters.
No, but the thing is, if all those kids that are unwanted, they get cussed at, fussed at, and the government, they'll pay food stamps or whatever. They'll help out the basic necessities.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, but 90% of I don't know the percentage, but a lot of those kids that grow up in those situations, they only get one meal a day, man. It's in school.
Yeah. Right.
So they're not wanted, and typically, Mark, it's how it is to me when I look at men. Men who move in with women, that's their den. It's not yours. So if you can't provide for a woman, you can't protect her, you can't defend her. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those kids grow up with a mama, and it's just different dudes of just keep throwing, keep going in, not even giving a shit.
Yeah.
So they ain't trying to invest in that kid's young life and teach him how to be a young man. And typically those women don't know their daddies anyway. So it's all fucked up. And that's are the little hyenas and shit. and jackals that's run around because everyone can get a gun so easily. I think if we really looked at that situation, instead of getting off this 200-plus-year-old document that obviously doesn't work today and nothing, yeah. But we're going to sit here and kill each other, and that's it. It's just a bad investment, bro.
Dude, I think the Second Amendment works really well for law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, but the problem is, it kind of sucks. It goes back in the day where only landowners could vote. Remember that?
No. But yeah, I've heard of it before.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't grow up in that era in the 1700s, right? And then it switched to all men could vote.
Yeah.
Right? And then it switched to all black men could vote after the Civil War, and then in the 1900s the women.
Right.
It's like where do you earn your right to own a firearm?
Well, where do you own your right to privacy? Where do you earn your right to free speech? Once people have to earn, these are God-given rights. These are God-given rights to protect yourself, to protect your home, your family.
Listen, but look how much damage you can do with going to, a pawn shop and spending $500 on a gun and going to buy some ammo for, say, another $100, $1 a bullet, and going down and shooting 80 people.
And what percentage of people is it that you think that does that? Because again,
well, I would probably say, Moss, don't we have like almost 100 shootings a day in America?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that, that if we really want to have a conversation, you may want to get that data, because what I'm saying is that's a lot of damage, and someone's got to pay for that damage, and typically it's the government who's going to put that person on an SSI check because they got spinal injuries or their kneecap got shot out and they fucking can't work anymore. So they're going to draw disability. No one's really talking about that. At the end of the day, the taxpayers are paying for it, and the fucking cops are paying for it because they're getting killed all the fucking time too. So we have a problem, but I think it's a gun problem. I think it's more we're just not raising Americans well at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that society's all screwed up, and again, but that's why you need to be able to have a gun. Is because because you're a good person and you have, and it's not just yourself and your family that you protect. It's the environment around you. I've seen somebody take down a person with a knife who was at the Seattle Center. There was like dozens of people around it, and the guy just whipped out a fucking 9mm and put it in the guy's face, and from 10 feet back, and told him to get on the ground, and he got on the ground. But he had already stabbed one person. Go ahead.
But to be honest, most gun owners don't even put themselves in that situation. Let's be honest. If that was the case, all the gun owners in America, everybody would walk around like they're Billy the Kid and, I don't fucking know, give me a gangster name.
Billy the Kid was a criminal. Billy the Kid was a criminal.
Yeah, but no.
And then you compare it to gangsters.
Everybody would walk around with a gun and have an ego. Gun owners are not doing that. You see what I'm saying? It's the criminals. So
right.
You have to get to that. You have to get to that demographic of where them people are growing up and not loved, and so they grow up with that aggression, and they grow up saying, "Hey, this is what life is really about." And then that's the problem. And again, it starts at there's not going to be a lot of fathers who's going to sign up for a program and say, "Hey, did you beat your wife? Come on in. Let's help you out so your kids won't grow up fucked up." Ain't no men gonna sign up for that shit.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about.
I think that's partially what it's about. I think there's a whole lot of other factors, and
it's only men though, Mom. Only men though. That's the problem.
Primarily, it's men. I think that
men who cause those problems. If the father's not showing up, Mark, I'm being honest.
Well,
and that damage the fathers did to those.
There's absentee mothers also, Brandon. Look at Craig raised his son on his own, and he did a fucking amazing job. I mean, that kid loves him more than anything. So,
But look though. But listen though. But again, I don't see Craig running from woman to woman to woman because he needs a woman to support him.
No, he doesn't need a woman to support him.
Oh, okay. So, meaning when it comes to women, once they get stuck with that deadbeat dad, they have no really choice. And typically they get stuck with 2 or 3 deadbeat dads, and then they ain't nothing but a cum dumpster. And they ain't giving a fuck about none of their kids, because they just trying to eat too. And they need a place to live. And they don't give a fuck who loves their kids or not. That's fact. You know what I'm saying about it? So that's one of the biggest problems. And then those little kids grow up to be demons and stuff, and that's where all that evil shit comes from, dude.
I agree. It starts when it's young. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and that's all I'm getting at. You know, when we can fix that, then you'll have, just like old Yeller, every father, whenever his son will work hard and buy some coon dogs, you know what I'm saying? And he'll get his fucking rifle. Daddy, save up and buy a rifle, and he'll go coon hunting or, hunt with his daddy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But that's in a perfect world. Like a father and a son, his father teaching him hunting, and the boy working hard, said, Daddy, I want me some dogs to go hunt. I want to win that contest. Yeah, but you don't see that no more. Now what you see is a bunch of jackals and hyenas running around with rabies. Terrorizing young lions in these communities, in these fucking neighborhoods, because they have nothing. They've never been taught anything. They never was loved. But keep your guns, everybody, at the end of the day, all right?
Keep your guns, defend your rights, and your home and your children. Look, as I see it, as I said, Bren, this is a God-given right. It's basically what it says in the Constitution. We hold these rights to be self-evident. God instilled you with free speech. God instilled you with the ability to protect yourself. God instilled you with a right to privacy. This isn't, even if God didn't, that means you still have that right from a spying government.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't really get too caught up in the lingo of it. I just look at the common sense of it.
Well, okay,
and
so
99% of Americans agree on the common sense stuff, but you have a lot of the people out there who, they're on the very fringes, and unfortunately, they're in charge of both government, Republican and Democrat. So until Generation X takes over, it's not going to get no better.
No, it's okay. I think it just all boils. No, look, I'm good, dude. It's not. I don't feel bad for myself. I've had an amazing life, and I'm not worried about the future. I don't like what we're leaving behind. It seems irresponsible, like you're saying. But okay, so you talking about that it's obvious that this is not working. So and response. So there should be meth being illegal is not working, right? So we should change that.
Just again. What profit does the federal government make off of having to fund programs to take care of people who should be physically able, right, to help benefit society, and they're just fucking coked out and drugged out or whatever just because they want to, and you see these videos all the fucking time in San Francisco or LA or wherever fucking Miami, or they're just fucking walking zombies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So meaning, what level of humanity when it comes to, okay, what percentage of these people are we just going to take care of in X, Y, and Z.
Well,
We're going to, you know, and listen, that becomes the problem. It's like how much is too much government? What says you can't have guns, you can't have guns, put restriction on guns. You got to pass insurance on the firearm, make guns more expensive.
right.
I have no idea.
These things are tied together. The level of crime, the meth being illegal, the black market is what funds. All the black market, the river of money. That's where guns come from. That's where drugs come from. That's where underage prostitution come from, and it's because the reason that there's so much crime is because like you're saying, there's these zombies walking around and they need drugs, right? And they got no money, you know, and that you're talking about cocaine and meth and heroin, you know, they got no money, so they got to go find money somehow. So then there's this crime. And then, you know, since there's these people who have all the money, the drug dealers, they're flooding the streets with the guns. You know, they're giving the guns to the people that are the addicts.
But the politicians write the policies to make it so easy to get the gun. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're having that problem.
Right.
You know, to where it's like, and that's, at the end of the day, when it comes to responsible gun ownership, you got to have responsible politicians who's going to make, like, you know, like responsible laws. And like, can someone every day go buy 10 guns a day? You know, in Texas, of course he can. And those guns he can sell to anybody he wants, and that's it.
Can he?
You know,
is it legal? Is it legal for him to do that?
In Texas, yes. Texas, I can go buy an AR-15 Mock, walk out the store and give it to you legally, and that's it. And I can walk away.
Huh. Well,
the guy did it on the Joe Rogan podcast. I bought a gun for you. I bought it yesterday. Here you go. It's legal in the state of Texas. It's yours.
Well,
that's it.
I don't know about what should be done about that. What I do know is that the black market is causing a huge amount of the problem. And if we stop using all these funds, like so much fundage goes to fighting the black market, and did what you say, help these people who we know are starting off bad, and which means they need help. They need all the help they can get. You know what I mean? There's all this money that's being wasted on shit that doesn't work, man, and it's not going to change.
Yeah. But Miles, this is the thing, you know, it comes down to where the people who have all the money, where they want to invest their money in. And those communities that we're kind of talking about, they've never wanted to invest in those communities. Never. So
it's not really a matter of investing in communities that they don't want to invest in. It's a matter of, you know, it's like starting an infrastructure project. You know, we don't want.
But Mom, you have to understand that a lot of those communities are looked down upon, and it's been that way for generations.
This is the problem. This is exactly what I'm saying. If you're a criminal using drugs, meaning if you're a meth user, you're a criminal. Okay, so if that's who you are, then you can't go out and say, I need help. If you go to your family, you're a horrible person who's a criminal, who they don't want criminals and drug addicts around. If you go to, you know, where are you supposed to go for help? You know, I mean, you're broke because you spend all your money on drugs, and you're afraid people are going to look at you like you're a bad person. It's so easy to fix this. Okay, all you have to do is open the party store, and then on the bag in which every fucking party supply goes out of the store, it says, do you need help? We're here to help. Let us help. And it's like 50% of what you're... Let me ask you, if they open a party store in your neighborhood where you can get any drug that you want to get, what percentage of your neighbors are going to run down to the fucking party store and get meth?
I would probably tell you that they would be scared to go do it openly and purchase it openly. Yeah.
But they might want to purchase it on the black market.
Exactly. Meaning no one knows the down low. Because I have neighbors who smoke weed. Like I've walked the dog and smell weed. You know, I'm like, oh,
That's completely different, and you know it.
Yeah, but yeah, I know, but still, everyone's got that paranoia about it because of their neighbors or their status.
Well, sure, they're going to have a paranoia about going to do this thing that they've never done before. That's natural, right?
Well, maybe that's why motherfuckers go to Vegas. You know, to do shit like that.
Yeah, you know, in Vegas, it's really weird to me, right? In Vegas, there used to be these rules, like you could not have a camera inside the fucking casino. That was not acceptable. That was not acceptable. And you know the reason why? It's because of what you're saying. You know, you go to Vegas to do this, you know, things that you don't want people to know about. All the gangsters that used to run Vegas, they didn't want their wives to know about the girlfriends that they're hanging out with at the casino. No fucking pictures. Not allowed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. But hey, Mom, you know what? Until we get the societal issues down, we're always going to have a gun problem. Because people don't respect each other. And at the end of the day, someone wants something that they didn't work hard for, and they want something that somebody else worked hard for. That's all it is. And
which is why people need to have guns.
Yes, but again, I think the human race has been here long enough to understand I didn't deserve that, so I shouldn't take it. You feel me?
Well, the human race has been here long enough to understand that we have to share what there is. Because if there's you know, hungry people, then that's not a good place to be. And it doesn't make any sense that there would be hungry people when we live in the land of plenty. So, other than, you know, following the rules and such, I'm not very good at that. But empathy and caring about others, those things are really important. And I, you know, again, this money's going to house fucking, you know, people that are drug users. You know, I mean, we put them in prison, and where it could actually be helping. You know, instead of fucking making more permanent criminals.
But this is the problem with that is, because first off, let's go back to abuse where abuse starts at. Okay, so if we can curb that, there'll be a lot less people unhappy that maybe wouldn't go so dark down that road with what you're talking about. I think we all agree upon we all should be able to use whatever drug we want. But when it comes to the point to where you can't function no more and you're dead weight and you're just a burden on society, then what do we do with you? At the end of the day, that's the major question. If you can't fucking function, then we might as well feed it to the fishes or what? Because that means you're going to live for 60 fucking years being stoned, and every time you need a liver or kidney, we're going to have to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? So, and teach or whatever else fuck you need, right? And feed you and put you in good climate.
And what percentage of the population is going to spend their life like that, dude? You know, we have these teeny tiny percentage of the population that's, you know, as you said,
I think it'd be a lot.
As you said, from the fucked in the head from the beginning. So instead of acting like somehow, you know, they need to be punished, you know, that we need to fucking bring them into the light. Yes, you're fucked up. You know you're fucked up. I know you're fucked up. That doesn't make you a criminal. Let's keep you from being a criminal. Let's get you into somewhere to live.
Yeah.
Let's get you let's get you to a doctor to make sure that you're okay, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, Moss, listen. Let's chop it up this way. Let's put them at different tiers. Tier 1 means you're just totally fucked up, right? And you're just a zombie. That's fine. That's a certain small percent of those type of people. And all the other ones, we can put them in communities to where hey, you do this, this is your fix, and this is where you live at. Like, they got a job, whatever it is. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, I think the major issue is it going to be in every major city, the homelessness and stuff like that? Because obviously these people have hit dark times. They need help, but can you physically take them off the street and make them get help? That becomes the issue. Like, can I make you get help, or do I have to give you the drugs?
Well, okay, look
And
at,
I think,
yeah, you think?
I mean, I think that's the major issue with just your average parent, your average taxpayer. You know, I pay like $5,000 a fucking year property tax. You know, I understand it. I fucking get it. But, you know, don't bring no shit to me. And that's a lot of
Even
people.
if it makes
So,
your
yeah.
neighborhood and your world, your state and your country a better place. I mean, you don't. And the problem. Look, Brandon, you got no problem sending billions off to fucking Yugoslavia, but you don't want to hurt. You don't want to help your neighbors who need help.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen, that is a quick fix, sending money to somebody else's problem. What I'm talking about is taking these Americans and making them prosperous again. Okay, making them successful. To where so many Americans wake up and they are in a fucking American nightmare. They're not in American dream, right? I'm trying to stop the American nightmare. That's what I'm saying. But it starts as, you know, hey, if, you know, these kids who ain't wanted, these kids who ain't loved, and that's where the shit starts spiraling out of control. And I'm not even really talking about, like, drugs and stuff. I don't give a fuck what you do. But if you can do it in moderation and kind of be productive or whatever, or if you're going to be a walking zombie, then why did you do the right to be a walking zombie in, I don't know, downtown Miami?
Because they were fucked when they were children. You already explained what gives them the right.
Well,
They were fucked.
Pick them up and fix them. That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Right. Where are those
Okay,
people?
Yes, well, we have to go pick
So,
them up
so
and
if
fix
the
them.
drugs not illegal, do you think these people are more likely to seek out help because then they're not criminals with fucking illegal substances in their pocket?
Well, look at it this way. Wouldn't it be safe to say that 30 years ago, white parents had a different philosophy of, like, black rap music than what they do now, right? It would take like 20 to 30 years to unfuck, you know, the fucking problem. Is what I'm saying.
so let's wait another generation to unfuck the problem.
No. What I'm saying is we got to address it now, like tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I hear
like,
you.
The teachers know. I mean, like, listen, these teachers in our country, they know the kids who don't get a lot to eat because they don't show up with snacks, and the teachers buy snacks out of their own pocket
Yeah.
for these kids.
Sure.
And they see the kids stuff these snacks in their faces. They didn't eat breakfast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then they see them get their free lunch or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then they see them stuff the food in their face like they never ate before. Every day,
Yeah.
these teachers see it and it hurts their heart. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And they know these parents are on welfare, but obviously, you know, somebody's not cooking for the kids. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The shit is so deep that causes these pains to these people that have these problems
Mm-hmm.
that you really got to get personal. And that is where the government, any shape or form of government, local, state, federal, your church or whatever, your sheriff's department, whatever, right? Come in your house and tell you you're a fucked up parent. Or whatever the case, right? That's where that whole freedom to be fucked up and to raise fucked up kids is, does that benefit society or which one benefits society? So government's going to tell everybody how to live and what language to speak and how to dress and walk and talk. You know,
Which is
That
what
shit
they're
is
already
not done.
doing, and it's not working. And the government's saying,
Nah,
oh,
it's not
you
what-
can't smoke
Wait,
weed, and then fucking all these people are fucking smuggling weed and smoking weed, and they're all, look, Brandon, they're all, look, at everybody that's smoking weed during Prohibition is criminal. They know that they're criminal, and because of that, that at least partially, as you're saying, they have to hide that. Okay, so if you're hiding your I'm not saying weed, but your other abuse problems because you know it's criminal, you know, you're not going to get help until you're fucking, you know, what you call a zombie, or maybe almost a zombie, right? Because you're afraid to get help. It could fuck your life.
That's where, but Mark, that's where it comes down to a good community and everything. That's why I say it's a 30-year process to unfuck everything. Okay, so let's say we snap our fingers and 30 years down the road, what me and you were talking about, we wouldn't even be talking about. We'd be talking about, man, you remember the crack days? You know what I'm saying? Those days are past, right?
No, they're not past. No, I remember. I remember
Yes.
the days when shit was illegal, and now we have freedom. And if you want to go fucking
Yes.
get some crack and get your hookers and go smoke crack all weekend long, that's awesome,
I'm
dude.
fine with it.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have to get past the damage. Is what I'm saying. You have to rebuild the structure. Is what I'm getting at.
You have to
Okay.
end the fucking criminalization of people doing something that they've done for 1,000 generations, whether it be weed
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
opium or cocaine. You know, these things aren't new. This is part of being top of the food chain, and by penalizing it, just like when Prohibition, when they made alcohol illegal, there was fucking people just laying in the streets, just fucked out of their
Yeah.
mind. Okay?
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, it doesn't work. Prohibition doesn't work, and it's making.
Mark, I'm not saying decriminalizing drugs, legalize all of them. What I'm saying is, we just gotta get with these young couples, these young parents, or these middle-aged parents, and help them get more established, so the kids don't suffer so much and grow up with that trauma. That's all I'm saying.
I think if that's figure outable, I think that should be one of the top of the list things. You know, I think, again, as I said earlier, there doesn't seem to be any real parenting training in schools. And I don't know why. I don't understand that, because it seems like breeding is one of these things that humans do a lot. So
I don't know how you train parents in school when they get the traits from their mom and daddy.
Because you teach them how to hold a baby, you teach them how to feed a baby, you teach them the basic responsibilities of a baby. You know, like they I don't know if they actually do this, but on any fucking like high school comedy situation comedy, they like do this weekend thing where they give them a raw egg.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a real thing that they do, but again, this is one of these responsibility things, and there's so much more to it than just having a baby. You know, they got to be trained. This isn't like a 15, 18-year responsibility. This is a 30, 40-year responsibility. You know, your baby needs you. You're there for your baby.
Yeah, but there's a lot of kids who grew up where they was raised a certain way, so they don't give a fuck about the baby. And that's what we gotta fix.
They haven't been trained. They haven't been trained on the importance of it. They haven't been talked to about empathy. They haven't been talked to about their own issues, like you're saying. So there's just the problem is that our government doesn't give a fuck about any of those things. Our government wants people to be fucked up. Our government wants there to be crime. Our government loves the black market. So it's not the people that are bad, it's our government that's bad.
I disagree with you on that one, Mom.
I figured you would.
Well, no, just because I work for the government for 20 years, blah, 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 right? You know my thing. But anyway, look, Mom, I have to go.
Yeah.
But listen, man, thanks for allowing me to be on your show, and I'm going to holler at you. Okay. And by the way, we start remodeling on Monday.
Hey, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're over here in the living room with lawn chairs. You know.
Hey,
Yeah,
but
we're all-
after that it's gonna be like a castle, dude. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen the furniture yet. So,
Well, that's pretty cool too.
surprise me with it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, you take care, Mike.
All right, tell Ty Mike said hi, and I really always look forward to hearing from you, bro. And thanks for the input. Okay.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay. That's our buddy 2 Bronze Star Brandon, and I can tell you that he knows a thing or two about weapons. I am going to play this video for you about what's about. Oh, the member of Congress. I don't know if she's a member of Congress. I don't think she is now, but I believe she was one. She's currently running to be the mayor of Los Angeles, and recently she had 2 guns stolen from her home. A responsible gun owner? No, I think it's kind of some kind of, in this election season, some kind of a political ploy. But I'll let you guys think I'll let you guys figure out the way you perceive it, and then maybe someone will call and we'll talk about it. Be right back.
America's crime crisis comes for a Democratic lawmaker, frontrunner in Los Angeles mayor's race, and Congresswoman Karen Bass says thieves broke into her LA home over the weekend and stole 2 firearms that were, quote, safely and securely stored in a Brinks lockbox. And only guns were taken from her house, despite cash, electronics, and other valuables being visible. Bass said she bought the guns years ago for personal protection, and it's no wonder burglaries are up 15% citywide this year compared with the last year, and crime has emerged as a major issue in the mayoral race. Bass was even asked about security earlier this year at a debate. Watch.
Congresswoman, do you feel safe walking in?
I do feel safe. I would say a 10. I feel safe, but I do understand that a lot of people around the city do not feel safe, and I respect that.
Something doesn't smell quite right about this story. Who wants this one? I got Janine over here. I got Greg. You both licking your chops. All right, go ahead.
Let me tell you something. She's got 2 guns that are registered for which she has no permits, okay? Only 2 guns are stolen, but they are, quote, safely and securely in a Brinks lockbox. How did the guy who allegedly is this Hispanic that they're referring to, I mean, they didn't tell us how they got a description since no one was at home. Maybe they had one of those ring things that they have a picture of. I don't know. But how does a criminal not take cash? There's no identification number, no fingerprints, not take jewelry, not take anything other than a box that you hope 2 guns are in. You hope there isn't a glass cover on a Brinks lockbox. Now, she has some issues, okay, as it relates to the gun. She only has it registered. She doesn't have a permit. She's had it for 40 years and never bothered to get a permit. I don't know what's going on, but I'll tell you what. All my antennas are up here. There's something totally off. No criminal goes in and doesn't take cash.
2 unlicensed firearms are missing from the Democrat candidate in LA's mayor race.
And this morning,
and they blamed a Hispanic, right?
Well, they did. They said they have a photograph.
Oh, they have a photograph.
And of course, there's COVID times, so he's got a mask on.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so they
there
don't know.
He is.
Yeah, there you have it.
Is.
There you have it. And as of this morning, on America's Newsroom, only her campaign had made a comment. And look, I would not want anyone to violate my home and take my guns in my lockbox. I mean, it does seem a little strange. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but we need a lot more on this. And Rick Caruso is the GOP candidate out there. He would be. I think he would be a really good mayor. And this race it's going to be very tough. There's so many Democrats that live in Los Angeles, but they are upset about crime, and nationwide people are upset about crime. And I think when the voting actually happens in November, in the exit polls, when you look back, and I think a lot more Democrats will lose than they are thinking right now, I think crime and certainly the border will be 2 of the big issues.
Do you think that they're going to mysteriously discover these 2 firearms in the campaign office of Rick Caruso?
It's weird. Maybe the criminal only takes Bitcoin. You know? Yeah, I don't know. This story stinks like Kilmeade's gym bag. Number 1. You break into a house, you take a safe, and you only steal guns. That's a lot of effort, meaning you knew what you were doing. You knew that there was something that you wanted specifically to get, And that's what happened. If only there were like journalists who would like care about this kind of story based purely on its hypocrisy, right? Journalists really used to like the hypocrisy story. Like if it was a pastor of a church that had an affair with a church member, or maybe a conservative moralist busted for drugs. But here you got a gun control advocate who loses her guns. The gun control loses the gun. So when I'm reincarnated, I hope I come back as a Democrat. Because what was I thinking? Because, like, even right now, there's a Nevada Democrat, right, who's accused of murder, killed a journalist. Imagine if that was Republican. He's still getting paid. He's still on the public. He's still getting a paycheck. That is awesome. I need that kind of treatment.
You remember when Harold was saying in the green room that Bass probably shot 2 people with the firearms and then reported them missing?
I can't believe you said that,
Remember when you said that?
You did.
I cannot believe you're piling on this message. Look, I don't know what to make of this. I think Dana had it probably, everybody's got an opinion, but Dana's position, I agree more that we need to know the facts here. Look, one of the things as I was reading through all of this, and I hope, you know, if we were talking about ghost guns and Republicans and Democrats will have their whole feeling about this. But hear me out one sec. We have a technology. We disappear. Right. So those guns may be used, and I hope they're not used by. My only point is the technology. If we have technology to shut down people's water and heat and air conditioning, these companies do. We ought to have the same kind of technology to make sure no one can use those guns, but for the person that owns the gun. If your guns are stolen, I mean, something good ought to come out of this. I hope all the facts come out. I take people at their word. I imagine the Congresswoman has not done anything here illicit. No one is. I don't think anyone is suggesting that. But the story that
I am.
I got issues
other than the birthday boy.
It smells like Juicy Smollett to me.
Yeah.
You know, and
Also, like, if you're a criminal that wants guns, isn't their whole point that you can just walk out on the street and get a gun?
Yeah.
Like, well, you don't.
Take the cash. If you took the cash, you could have gotten a bigger gun. Think about it.
Somebody knew that those guns were there. Yeah, you're
And
absolutely
how did
right.
they know that? Did she take the guns out? Did she talk about the guns? Did she use those guns? If she did, she needed a permit.
Yeah, it could have been a handyman.
They say it's
working around
easier
the house
to buy a vegetable than it is to buy a gun. That's right.
It is.
Or a gun than a vegetable.
Fresh fruit.
Fresh fruit. Yeah, you were the one always saying that. Well, Liz, I agree with Harold. I always trust what the politicians tell me.
Yeah.
All right? All right.
Amen.
Up next.
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have. Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have. Well, nobody's gotten to the.
Those guys think everything is funny. All right? I don't get that part of it. They're just laughing. So I'm gonna have a bong hit. Why the hell not? Because I can. Lovely. And it seems like to me that story about the congresswoman, the candidate who's running for mayor of Los Angeles, she obviously not a responsible gun owner. And the story, as the Judge Shapiro, is that, I don't know what her fucking name is. She was saying something's not right here. The other one was saying, you know, he says, well, I hope, you know, no one's suggesting that there's something going on here and or going criminal or something. And the other one said, I'm suggesting that. And it looks dirty, whatever's going on there. Because, like they said, they took the guns, but not all this other stuff. Sup, G?
I don't know. I think that's very shady when somebody thinks they're going to knock the other. I mean, a very smart burglar will definitely take the guns, and they will definitely pretend to take something else. I don't know, TVs, jewelry, money. If you're actually taking the gun, well, don't make it so obvious. Go ahead and target something else, like get some jewelry, get some cash, get some equipment, get some TVs.
Yeah.
Make it look like an actual burglary, because that is raising a lot of suspicion, actually.
I think so too. I think that you know, someone, you know, breaking into your home and seeing cash and jewels and all kinds of other things that they can get money out of, and all they do is they take your guns. Oh, well, they only had the ability to carry 2 guns. Cash, jewels, those things are very easy to carry, and to me, it looks like some kind of, again, a political ploy where, like, see the crime that revolves around guns, or it's this thing where something shady happened with those guns, and she didn't want them in her possession anymore, or having a legal transference of those guns. So,
That's what I was thinking as well, man. Because it's kind of like a stolen car used for a crime. A lot of times it's just people steal cars because they want to commit a crime, and a lot of times it's done on purpose, so they can lose the track of the stolen vehicle, or at least lose the track of that they were actually doing something shady.
Yeah.
But again, it's just suspicious. It's just my own personal. It's me connecting dots where maybe dots were not supposed to be connected. I don't know.
Right.
It's just me, man.
Yeah, it's all speculation.
It's speculation, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. All speculation, man. But yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely you should keep it on the lockbox.
Why?
I feel I'm one of those people that I actually feel uncomfortable in front of guns, but I do understand that it's a weapon of mass destruction, man.
No, it's not. No, it is not a weapon of mass destruction.
Anyways, let me finish my thought.
I want to understand your thoughts, Manny. You said you're uncomfortable being around guns. I want to understand why, and then we can proceed where you want to go. Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. I feel uncomfortable near guns, or like having a gun. But at the same time, I understand the philosophy behind having a gun. A gun is to protect your liberties, to protect yourself against tyranny, or against somebody who was trying to infringe on your rights. At least that's what it was originally intended, though. You don't use it to hurt people. You don't use it to infringe into other people's rights. It's to protect your rights. But unfortunately, a lot of people are misusing it for nefarious reasons.
That is unfortunate. But why do you think that they should be kept in a lockbox?
Because anybody can access it, though, and then if he gets in the wrong hands, it can cause a lot of harms. I mean, there are a lot of children who are very smart and need to be able to find a gun underneath your bed, or I don't know, try to mess out with a lot of things, and keeping it with a lockbox. At least, I mean, they're going to be able to get into the lockbox, but they don't. It's really very hard for them to open it up because they either don't know the password or they don't have the key to open it.
I think that there's ways around, getting into a lockbox. I think there's something called a crowbar. I'm not sure. I've heard of that before.
Well, I mean, do you think children are going to do that? No, they're not.
Children?
They're just going to try to...
We back to think of the children, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's the strong man right there.
Okay, so again, any child, in my opinion, that has been trained as to what guns are, as opposed to thinking that they are toys, will not think that they are toys once they've fired a gun. Especially if you do it at 6, 7, 8 years old. It's no longer a toy. It's something to take real fucking serious. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's a matter of training. I can't imagine. Like I grew up in a house full of guns, and I couldn't imagine going and sneaking a gun. I mean, 100 guns plus in my house, pretty much half of them loaded. So I couldn't imagine going and getting a gun. Even the one that I slept with under my pillow. I couldn't imagine going and getting that and taking it somewhere because it was a toy or cool or something. I just, from the time I was 12 years old, I slept with a .357 under my pillow. And it was never like this thing that was like, I mean, I would never, ever point a gun at somebody that I did not intend to kill in the next 2 seconds. Okay? So, it's not for me. It's not like it's not a game, and that's because I found out it's not a game at a young age. And I think that generations at this point have grown up with guns in their hands, acting like they're toys. And I don't mean the criminals on the street. I mean your sons and daughters in your home. They're out there and they have a list of guns a half a mile long, and they're like picking that one and going out and shooting people with it and go, okay, I'm tired of shooting people with this one, and then they pick another one and go out and shoot people with it every day, day after day after day, with zero repercussions. And that's what they think guns are, a lot of them.
Okay. Anyway, just want to say hi, man.
Okay, Manny. I mean, I'm talking about video games. You get that, right?
Yeah, but in general, though, it always comes to that topic, man. It always comes to that topic.
No.
Video games are fun. I mean,
No.
I played Grand Theft Auto when I was a kid. Like 15 years ago, I used to play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But you are like a tough guy trying to kill everybody and trying to beat prostitutes and beat gang bangers and try to get your own territory.
Grand Theft Auto.
It sounds fun.
Grand Theft Auto?
It sounds fun. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
I remember the first time I saw Grand Theft Auto. I was making television at the time, and this guy, his girlfriend was in Hustler magazine, and he's like, "Hey, my girlfriend's got some magazine for you to sign, signed magazine." Right on. So they wanted to hang out. They were friends with Ron Jeremy. They wanted to introduce me to Ron, which they did eventually. But he wanted to show me, when I was hanging out with them, he wanted to show me this video game, right? This new video game, Grand Theft Auto, right? And he starts walking down the sidewalk, and there's this old lady carrying groceries, right? And he pulls out a baseball bat, and he just starts beating this old woman carrying groceries, right? And he goes, "Dude, you gotta try this," and tried handing the controller to me, and I went, "I'm not touching that, man," because that did not correspond to me as a game, beating up old women with the baseball bat. So I think that there's generations now that have grown up as that being a game. And since there's no other alternative training at the same time, wherever you would get that training that says, beating up grandmas, carrying groceries is not a good idea. Nobody gets that training. So, it's not surprising where we're at. I'm not blaming video games. I don't think that's the problem. I just think that there's no empathy left in the world, basically.
All right, then. Gotta go.
Okay, good to hear from you, Manny. I was worried.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye.
I was worried because he waited so long in the show to call. And I don't think that video games are bad. I don't think that ultra-violent video games are bad. I just think that they're turning on a switch in people's brains, and they're not countering that switch at all. So, again, the reason I brought that up was the whole Grand Theft Auto thing. Manny brought up Grand Theft Auto, and I wanted to explain the first time that I had seen it. This guy was showing me. He's like, you can go wherever in here, and he's like walking down the sidewalk, and there's this old lady walking by, pulls out a baseball bat and just starts pummeling her, and then he's like, "You got to try it. try to hand me the controller. I'm like, I'm not touching that thing. I'm not touching it. I don't want anything to do with that. So I think that it has an effect. That's all I'm saying, you know. And I grew up with guns, you know, and I played video games with guns. I like playing like kung fu video games. I like fighting aliens, right? If you fight aliens and you have laser guns and stuff, I like doing that. Fighting, you know, people in a city, fighting people with a limitless list of guns. I don't like that. I don't like it. I never played that those war games that are so popular. I tried one time. I didn't like it. Shooting people, I don't like shooting people. So I think I don't think video games are the problem. I think training is the problem. I think people just aren't taught how to communicate. Like someone was saying, communication is a problem. It's not just communicating. It's like come together. People don't come together, you know, as a community. I don't want to limit people's guns rights. I don't want to limit. I want people to have whatever drugs they want to use without being criminalized. And I don't want there to be a black market. The problem is the black market, not the drugs. The drugs are not the problem. Okay? The problem is people who will sell the drugs to 14 and 15-year-olds. The problem is it's a crime, so those people who use the drugs have to hide. And they're terrified of someone finding out that they're using the drugs. Until it's too late often. And if you were terrified because you were worried that someone might find out, you're much less likely to go get help. You know, if it's illegal, you're not going to go to somebody and say, hey, I'm doing this illegal thing, I'm doing this criminal thing, I'm doing this thing that society looks at in disgust. You're not going to go do that. If it's legal, if it's understood, hey, this is, you know, people have a problem with this, just like alcohol. People have a problem with this, you know, it's dangerous. Just like alcohol, you know, use responsibly, just like alcohol, okay? And I think there'd be an entirely different approach. I think people wouldn't be afraid to get help, wouldn't be afraid to reach out to their family, to their friends, to, you know, to the organizations that are there to help. I think it would be, you know, the vast majority of people would ask for help before it got serious at all. You know, before they started, you know, worrying about losing their job and stuff, you know? So, the vast majority. And then those who didn't reach out for help. They can get help when they need it. I mean, when they finally can't take it anymore, when they want help, they can get help. And there's junkies who lived, you know, who are junkies for 30, 40, 50 years. It's, I don't want to say it's not uncommon, but there's lots of them. So I think, and obviously if you can function that way for 30, 40 years, then, you know, it's not, look, it's not this deadly thing where you're going to take it one time and you're going to die. It's not this. So if you want help, it's available. If you want party supplies, they're available. If something happens with your party supplies where the police find out that you have a gram of cocaine on you, you're not going to go to jail for a year. It's not going to cost you $5,000 in court fees and another $5,000 in lawyer's fees. This doesn't make sense. This is a whole industry built on people's pain. You know, the black market, people's pain, the court system, people's pain, the policing, people's pain, the having to hide in the shadows because you're afraid of how society will deal with you, the people's pain. That's pain on everyone, all of the pain I just mentioned. We're all suffering that pain solely because there's this huge prison industrial, for-profit, comply or die police/prison industrial complex, which is so much bigger than you can possibly imagine. And a huge percentage of it revolves around drugs being illegal. The CIA is controlling the opium fields in Afghanistan so that they can take that and flood the streets, that opium, that heroin, and flood the streets of whatever neighborhood they want, whether it be the U.S. neighborhoods or somewhere else around the world, with zero fucking laws that they have to fucking be penalized by. So our government wants to persecute people for doing what people have done for 1,000 generations before them. Before we got here to the 20th century, right? Coca-Cola, one of the #1 drinks in the world, right? One of the #1 beverages in the world, Coca-Cola. You can find it anywhere in the world. Coca-Cola. It built its reputation on the fact that it had cocaine inside the beverage. You're drinking it because you want cocaine. Coca-Cola. So, you know, this whole huge built giant company worldwide, everywhere you go you can find it, Coca-Cola, was built on selling cocaine. This was before the drug war. Okay? This is a common thing. This is part of being human. We like things that get us high. It's part of being the big-brained tippy top of the food chain, which we are. We can decide things for ourselves that we like. We don't need someone to say, oh yeah, no, cannabis is bad. You don't want to do cannabis. You'll get all strung out. It'll fuck up your life. We don't need somebody telling us that bullshit. Hello, caller.
Hi, Mike. Really interesting program. Fascinating.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
I do what I can.
Yeah. I didn't want to talk about this. I had like 4 or 5 things I wanted to talk about. But I listened to the first couple of discussions, you know, with Brandon and, is it Baby Z?
Yeah, it's Baby Zebus.
All right. I listened to those conversations, and, I mean, there were a lot of good points. I thought Brandon made good points about how guns can be dangerous, you know.
He should know.
And I also think that Baby Zebus made a good point about mental health services, you know, and Americans not having access maybe to mental health services.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun because I don't think I have a big penis either. Hold on, wait. Let me check. Wait. No. Not a huge one.
I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun either. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm real embarrassed about that I don't have a big penis or a gun. That's okay. I don't.
You got one of those big 4-wheel drive trucks?
You know what kind of vehicle I have. Does it look like a big fucking four-wheel?
You know, one of those monster vehicles. Yeah, you know, that works almost just as good as a gun.
I don't have one of those.
Or if you have like a souped-up Camaro or a Charger, that's almost just as good.
And I don't think that every gun owner has a souped-up car like that either. All right, nor do I believe every gun owner has. I understand your point here, but I do think a lot of this is cultural. And earlier, people were talking about men who commit these crimes. It's often men who commit these crimes, you know. And there is a certain amount of machismo about it. You know, a lot of this shit happens like these shootings and stuff in cities happen at nightclubs after people have been drinking, and the people who are shooting each other are men shooting each other over women, shooting each other over turf, just shooting each other because they're fucking, you know, they got big dicks, and that's what they're doing. But anyway, that's not the reason why I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun for other reasons. I don't have a gun because I think that this phrase, the way that this question is phrased, is fucked up. Like, I think the question should be, have you ever known somebody personally who died from a gun? I've known 3 people personally who died of guns before I was 18 years old. You want me to hear their names, their stories? One was by a cop. One was by a criminal with a gun. The other was with a shotgun, stolen probably or used from his family or something. But I mean, how many people have you known before you were 18 who were killed by guns? Who you knew their names, Mike?
I don't think I knew anybody who was killed before I was 18. I know one of the people that my dad knew committed suicide under kind of mysterious circumstances when I was 16. He blew his head off with a shotgun that was borrowed from my dad. It was borrowed from my dad.
That's fucked up. Your dad obviously must have a conscience of steel. I bet he just never fucking bends, right?
My dad murdered a lot of fucking people, dude. He killed a lot of people. So
that was the next question. How many people do you know, like, who your friends? Like, for me, it was my next door neighbor, who was a teenager working at a store, was shot right when the shift ended at midnight at a drugstore in like 1982 or something. And my cousin, my first cousin, was murdered over a bag of weed with a shotgun when I was like 11 or something. And when I was 18 or 19, one of my herb dealers, who was Laotian, was this Laotian guy, and he was about 20 years old, and he was shot by a cop. So before the time I was 20, I knew 3 people. I actually knew them, knew their names, knew where they lived, and their people and shit, and they were dead from guns. So that did affect me, Mike. Maybe it doesn't affect other people like me, but it affected me. And it made me realize that I don't want to be around guns at all because they're dangerous and they kill people. And then I also realized that, like, we tend to affect crime. Like, you know, I dealt weed and stuff all through my 20s and 30s, all the way, you know, just like you, for like 25 years, slinging bags or helping people out or whatever.
I never slinged bags in my entire life, dude. Never.
Okay, well, then you never did, okay?
I never did. I never did.
I did, though.
What?
I did it. I did, though.
Okay, well, good for you. Well, just don't put it onto me. That's all I'm saying. That don't suggest that I did that, because I did not.
Well, I just am saying that I did. I just assumed that you did. I was wrong.
Okay.
I did. But in that course of time, you know, the only time I interacted with people who had guns were usually fucked up people. They were fucked up people.
Well, you're doing something that's considered to be,
experience.
you're doing something that's considered to be illegal, and then so you're kind of in a criminal element to start with. So.
Sure, and out of like 100 criminals that I interacted with, the few of them that had guns typically were fucked up individuals.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's what I was saying.
Well, I see, but if you come back to the law-abiding citizen, you know, go ahead.
So the real reason is that I don't want to kill myself, Mike.
That's the reason you don't have a gun?
That's the reason I don't have a gun. And I don't have a gun because I know that I've known like 5 or 6 people who, again, not just a person I passed on the street who committed suicide in my life. Again, including family members, yeah. And I've been really depressed, and so have a lot of people in my family. And I'm pretty certain if there had been a gun in my household, at least 1, 2, or 3 people would have killed themselves.
Wow.
In the United States, 20,000 people kill themselves with a gun every year. That's half of the people.
How many kill themselves with pills? How many kill themselves with alcohol?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Can you tell me? I can tell you that it's the leading cause of death for people like under 20. It's like and suicide. And most men commit suicide with guns. I can tell you that too. Suicide is the leading cause of death for people like under 35. So it is like, I don't know how significant it is, man, but it is significant, Mike.
What is?
So?
What is?
So I don't have it.
What is significant? What is significant? The amount of suicide?
20,000 people who are dead because they could make a decision in a second that required no planning to kill themselves.
Well, how long does it take to swallow a bottle of pills, dude?
I don't know. I know. Like I said, out of the 6 people I knew who committed suicide, 1 of them shot themselves with a gun. 1 of them hung themselves. I mean, it's fucking fucked up, dude. But if you have the ability to just pull a trigger, there's no thought. It's the fastest way, and it's the reason why
There is thought. You don't
use guns.
They don't put it up against your head without thought.
I guess they don't. I mean, you told me yourself that when you were a kid, your father had a friend. How did he kill himself? You said that.
Right. You don't know the circumstances, okay? Again, I don't know if you know the circumstances of these other people. My dad worked with the DEA, and that was his friend, and he was letting him know that he's in fucking bad. He's going down. So, go ahead.
Yeah, anybody who commits suicide, Mike, is in pretty deep fucking water to start with. That's fact. Undeniable. And they have issues that cause them to commit suicide. And because we don't have mental health services in this country, many of them make the decision to kill themselves, and men especially tend to gravitate towards firearms to do it.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
Yeah. Well, do you think people should have the right to kill themselves?
Of course I do. All right, so that doesn't diminish the fucking point. I want 20,000 people to kill themselves really quickly instead of getting therapy. Yeah, people do have the right to kill themselves.
Okay. Well, I just wonder. I mean, I'm not.
People don't have the right to have. I didn't say people don't have the right to not own guns either. I didn't say people shouldn't own guns. I'm just pointing out some statistics that aren't like they weren't. They aren't just pulled out of the fucking vapors. Like guns actually are dangerous. They are designed.
I've said numerous times guns are dangerous, and I agree. They were designed for one thing. A handgun was designed for one thing. I agree. What?
I just reminded you of what you said.
Okay, and I agree with you. Handguns are designed for one thing.
And automatic rifles?
Automatic rifles, look at what they call a long gun is designed for a lot of different things, including, a lot of different things. A handgun is designed for personal protection to be carried at your side. That's what it's designed for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not taking people's guns away from them. I'm telling you why I do not want a gun around me.
I don't want a gun.
Typically, and the other thing is like just amongst the community of people I've known here in this town for 30 years, the people who fetishize their guns, you go to their house, you smoke some herb, have a cup of coffee and talk, and they pull their fucking gun out and start showing you their gun and stuff, are the very same people in my little circles who are part of like this criminal element, which I don't find amusing, really. And what do you think about laws, Mike, where when a person commits a violent crime with a gun, should it be a more serious crime?
I don't know. I think that people have to be held accountable. So if you hurt someone, if you're willing to use a gun to commit a crime, you should probably be held more responsible than if you're, just going and shoplifting something.
Because like, if you go rob, say, a gas station with a gun, and you have it on the table, they see it, you literally are threatening their lives at that point.
Well, it's exactly what you said. It's a 1 second thing. It's what I said. I would never point a gun at anyone unless they were 2 seconds from being dead.
Okay, so I'm all in favor of your idea of the party store, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. Both of us have, about like how it'd be a great idea if drugs were legalized and decriminalized in the United States. Period. People could go to a market, buy what they want, and I think that would actually help the mental health problems. Like earlier, Brandon seemed kind of, mystified that stoned people could function in society. That is a myth.
Yeah.
That in fact, like heroin addicts are very high functioning people when they have their supply.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like bureaucrats, just like other bureaucrats. They go to their little cubicle and they do their work and then they go home, except for like 2 or 3 times a day they take a shot that keeps them going. Because heroin is a maintenance drug. And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand. When they think like, man, you just fucking stoned, man, all day. No, that's not how it works, dude. The dude becomes an addict, and then they have to have a certain amount of drug. And they might feel a high, like an ephemeral high, for about 20 minutes. But then they're going to have to wait another like 3 or 4 hours till they get that ephemeral high. And that's about it. And if they don't take the drug, they're going to get sick.
Right.
So it's a maintenance drug. It's a maintenance drug. And many people can do many things while they're on heroin. Cocaine is used by fucking Wall Street. It is their drug of choice. Brokers in New York fucking snort cocaine. That's what they like to do. And let me tell you, they do a good job of fucking the world over on coke. So people can function on cocaine. People can function on heroin. And also, methamphetamine, the issues, some of the issues here is like drug abuse. It's like, yeah, if you want to take, I don't like amphetamines. Like, if you want to take crystal methamphetamine and stay up for like 2 days in a fucking row, you're going to be a little wacky when you haven't had any sleep in like 40 hours or something like that. And I don't really see that as being desirable. But I have heard of people, they go on long drives, they have a repetitive task that they're going to be doing all day, they want to be focused, they want to stay awake, they take a stimulant. Most people drink coffee.
Adderall is very popular from what I understand.
Yeah, and Adderall, that's a great one. Like I told you the story about the guy, I'm depressed and I need Adderall. Yeah, so, and prescription drugs as well. So, like, the number that I've heard is 1 in 5, or it could even be as high as 1 in 4 Americans are on prescription medication for some kind of psychiatric disorder. The most common is depression and anxiety. So basically, we'll give you a psychiatric pill just if you say, like, I'm feeling a little depressed. Oh, here, have this medicine you're going to have to take for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And those people are just as zombified as the people strung out on heroin and the people like smoking crack and stuff. They're on drugs too, right? Let's not forget about the drugs that the doctors give out. And let's not forget about all the fucking alcohol they sell in St. Louis, right? And they sell alcohol everywhere, man. And about half the public drinks, in addition to taking drugs from the doctor. So drugs are just a part of our culture. I don't think we're going to get rid of them. But I think if we made them legal,
it's not just our culture. Drugs are a part of humanity. Before we were building cities, I understand cannabis was like the first cultivated plant. Okay, and it's not like mushrooms, weren't everywhere and a basic source of food besides, a nice feeling to have once in a while. Go ahead.
Optimum word there, cultivate, which means to grow. Culture comes from agriculture and civilization. Culture. I'm just talking about our culture in the United States. You know, I mean, I'm sure I've read books about in anthropology classes about humans who live other places, but I live here in this culture.
Well, I just got done talking about Coca-Cola and all this. This is a normal human thing that's been that way forever. Anyone who researches it can see that.
Yeah. Coca-Cola and cocaine, of course, were both manufactured in laboratories by pharmaceutical companies, just like heroin was initially. So that's like where those two drugs came from. Although chewing coca leaves and making, you know, coca concoctions from South America, that existed for a long time, thousands of years.
This is what I'm saying.
Same with poppy, and the same with poppies. You know, opium and poppies have been around for thousands of years too. So I mean, they are part of our program. But the refined, hardcore drugs, like made by the pharmaceutical company, like heroin was made by Bayer, the people who make aspirin, and Coca-Cola was made like, you know, before it was Coca-Cola, it was like refined in a laboratory, cocaine. So these things were made in the late 1800s by you know, scientists who were doing alchemy and chemistry and stuff, like better living through chemicals. Like they were the originals, right? So, you know, I wouldn't encourage people to take hard drugs if they could take a less processed form of the drug. Like I personally would prefer to smoke opium rather than inject heroin into my veins. You know, just as I would rather, you know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think the closer you are to the plant, the better off it is. I just kind of feel that way about things. I'm a vegetarian too, Mike. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think that if people, again, the whole party store idea, you can get what you want. If people have access to whatever they want, yeah, there's gonna be a percentage that are interested in cocaine. But overwhelmingly, what you're gonna find is the alternative that people have been looking for forever is cannabis, and it's been kept from them forever, which has bolstered the meth epidemic, which has bolstered the heroin epidemic, because they didn't have an alternative. This is what they had available. They want to get high, boom. Okay, so it's if you have the party store where you can get anything, if you're looking for a nice buzz, you go have a big fat brownie and you're gonna be like high as fuck. So
yeah, I like you think people should use cannabis, you know, as a form of therapy or whatever, as an antidepressant or for anxiety or for their health. It's whatever, for a myriad of different reasons. So the two things, I'll be brief. There were two things I did want to share. First of all, American life expectancy. A couple days ago, a report was released about U.S. life expectancy, and it dropped from 79 years to 76 years. It dropped 3 years in 1 year, and that has never, ever happened before. But it's the American Indian life expectancy. These are Native American Indians who live in the United States. Their life expectancy last year dropped 5.9 years in 1 year, from 71.8 years to 65.2 years, the lowest of any demographic in the United States. So an average Native American in the United States lives to be 65, and an average American in the United States lives to be 76. Both of those numbers have dropped. And I want to put those numbers, this is from Newsweek magazine, but in context. So last year, President Biden called Cuba a failed state. He said that the government of Cuba is a failed state. But recent figures from last year show that Cubans can expect to live to 79 years old, while in the U.S. that number dropped to 76. So they were doing better than us, but they've actually are about 3 years ahead of us now. So I'd say you can live longer in Cuba than you can in Seattle. How about that?
I think the lifestyle is very different in Cuba. I think that there's, a lot easier to breathe there. I don't know. I would expect that here there's just so much, and there's so much anxiety everywhere, and this is part of everything being illegal, living in a police state. I don't know if it's that way in Cuba, but I get the impression it can't be as bad as it is here.
I don't think it is that bad in Cuba as far as police state goes. I I think the only people they're afraid of is the CIA, and they probably have good reasons to be.
Yeah.
But in terms of the people, I think they do. They have good food. The government has promoted organic agriculture on the island of Cuba, so they have like farms that have good food that doesn't have pesticides in it. They also have medicine from the moment they're born until the moment they die.
Yeah.
So they have a doctor, like from when they're like 5 years old. They have the same doctor for like 20 years until she retires, and then they get another doctor who's their doctor for 20 years.
Yeah.
So they have a doctor their whole life, and they get medicine when they're sick. So when they're sick, the government's like, oh, fuck, you have cancer. It isn't like, oh, fuck, I have cancer, and my insurance isn't going to pay for it. I'm going to die until I get the money for it to pay for the cancer, which is very stressful, Mike. So they don't have to deal with that, right?
Yeah, and it's not just stressful for the person that's, needing treatment. It's stressful for everybody around. And that's what I'm saying. There's so much anxiety in our country right now that it's so difficult for me to imagine an island country to be nearly as stressed as that. I can't imagine Haiti being as stressful as the United States is.
Haiti and Dominican Republic are like two of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. It's weird. I don't know, but the climate. I would love to live in the Caribbean. Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba. I'm sure it's beautiful. Just the climate. The last thing I want to talk about.
Vietnam. Vietnam looks so beautiful, man.
Yeah, and Thailand is beautiful. Southeast Asia. Last thing, so this last story was the Northeastern University letter bomb note. Did you read about that today?
Nuh-uh.
Okay, so last night at about 8 o'clock, a package was delivered to Northeastern University, which is in Boston, and somebody in the mailroom opened up the package and a bomb blew up. And there was a note attached to the bomb that was like, they didn't release the note, the FBI didn't release the note, but it was railing against Mark Zuckerberg and the Meta virtual reality. It was a note saying that, and he also threatened to strike again. So some people have given him the name the Meta bomber, right? and so there's a manhunt, and there's new details. Like this is like a detective story, like all these events are, and there's new details emerging. People can follow this if they look for it. But there was one thing that at the end of this article, I don't know where I read it. It was they mentioned like an FBI report of all the bombs that Ted Kaczynski blew up in the 1980s and 1990s, like the 12 or 15 bombs that he blew up in different places, the timing, and all of this. And then at the end of it, they said this, and it made me it reminded me of a conversation I had with you, Mike, when we talked about scripts and plays for movies. Remember, like what would be a great script for a movie? Well, just imagine this: 2022. This is this year. Ted Kaczynski is in an isolated cell at the high-security Supermax in Florence, Colorado. He shares his 1 hour recreation period in a 12-foot by 18-foot wire mesh cage with Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh and the 1993 World Trade Center bomber Ramzi Youssef. So once a day, Ted Kaczynski, Timothy McVeigh, and Ramzi Youssef spend an hour together in a 12 by 18-foot wire mesh cage in Florence, Colorado Supermax prison. And I was thinking, that's right out of John Paul Sartre. There's a play he wrote called No Exit, which is about 3 people in hell. They're not in hell, they're in purgatory. And they're talking to each other about the crimes and the lies they committed and whether they should go to heaven or they should go to hell. But think about this. What kind of conversation would be going on in this box? Ted Kaczynski, Timothy McVeigh, and Ramzi Youssef. Like, why didn't you change the license plate on the car? You'd be like,
yeah.
I don't know. Why didn't you plant the explosives better in the parking garage? And like, why did you send the mail bomb to the guy at the university? I just wonder. I thought like would be a fascinating a movie actually. I bet you could stretch it out to an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, it does sound fascinating, and I would love to see someone write that.
And they could write it like where the last conversation they have before the end of the movie is like right before Julian Assange is going to enter the Supermax.
Yeah.
Life is great. Okay. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with those 2 points, and then the conversation about guns. Different perspective about why I don't have a gun because I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of other ways if you do want to kill yourself.
I think about that all the time, Mike. And I, like when I was in San Francisco, I was on a 12th-story apartment with a balcony going right down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I go hiking all the time with like 200 feet cliffs.
Yeah.
I know lots of places where that's possible, but and when you're, I don't know, like how, if most psychologists might say that most people actually think about these things, like that you're pretty much you're not normal if you don't think these things.
Yeah, from about age of 12 to 18 or so, I thought about it every day. It actually made me laugh. It became kind of a game to think of new ideas of how to do it, and it made me laugh a lot. So,
I know. Well, that's great that you were able to laugh at whatever was causing you to feel that way. Whatever. Some people aren't as fortunate. I'm not a big fan of these drugs. I am not going to take an antidepressant to deal with my depression. I've known this for like a really long time. So, like many Americans, I muddle through it. I wish I did have a therapist, like not like Mike, not like you, but like a therapist, right? That I could deal with. But that, like I mentioned in chat, that's a really expensive service, to have a good therapist who's not like, is not just getting a check from the state or something, but it really cares about you and wants to work with you and not just give you a pill. That's a hard thing to find. You're talking about 1 out of every 20 doctors.
Well, to find someone who cares, I think, is difficult. The thing is that I think for a lot of people, just having someone to talk to makes a huge difference. So it's not so much that you have to have somebody that cares, but just to be able to get it out. You know what I mean? So I think...
well, it's also nice to talk to somebody who knows what the fuck you're talking about too, right? Like they're not that they have the golden bullet or the magic solution, but that they can kind of guide you in the right direction to help you with your grief or your depression or whatever. They're professionals. They're supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Well, at least help you think out the thought that's frustrating you or whatever. When you talk about guiding you, a lot of times I think that is, well, maybe if you took this medication, I think what I find myself is I've been seeing a therapist for the last couple months, and what I find is that she doesn't have a lot to say. She asks a question or 2 or 3, but she mostly, I think, just listens and she kind of responds to what I'm saying in this way, like, well, tell me more, and but that's how I feel anyways. Although I know that she has more input than that, but I like I said, I think just talking is a big part of it, getting the things out that are inside. It's an internal dialogue that just keeps repeating itself,
So I know you said that you don't watch a lot of YouTube content. That you gather content and you share it, but you don't watch a lot of YouTube. Did you watch the Joe Rogan interview with Gabor Mate?
No.
Gabor Mate?
No.
Okay. Gabor Mate is a Canadian. He's a psychotherapist, and he talks with. There's a 17-minute segment with him interviewed with Joe Rogan that I would encourage you to watch. He talks about parents developing empathy with their children and understanding their children and their unique differences, and not giving them drugs for ADHD. So the whole conversation is about ADHD and the misdiagnosis of ADHD and how our culture is geared towards programming kids, right? And a lot of it comes down to parenting and interacting with children, how people interact with children. And that's a determinant that determines whether people have problems, like with substance abuse. Like a reason why they take these drugs is they experienced trauma when they were kids. They were fucking traumatized. Something happened. They were molested. They were beaten up. Their parents, fucked with them, or whatever. You could, there are a bunch of different reasons why people are traumatized when they're children. And as a result of that, they start using drugs as a way to kill their pain. And then when one drug cannot kill the pain that's caused by the trauma that they can't really resolve until they work through it, they typically look for harder drugs so that they can kill the pain. I mean, that's the cycle of abuse. And it also is the same with PTSD. People who come back from war, they're traumatized. And that's why they say, fuck, give me the needle, Fuck this. I don't want to think about the heads I saw blown off, and the people I traumatized myself. So instead of thinking about that, I'm just going to kill all of the pain. So it's trauma, childhood trauma and PTSD, like from gangs and war. That's what causes people to use these drugs to begin with.
Yeah, I think pretty much we're at this point we're all suffering from PTSD because of the way that we are trained. And, from the beginning, it's like Brandon said. It's like you're saying. We're just not treated like I don't know, like human beings. We're treated like cattle, or some kind of performing animal, circus animal that says, jump through this hoop, jump through that hoop, as opposed to you can go anywhere and be anything and make almost anything you can imagine happen, because that's who humans are. And I don't think, maybe your parents said that to you a couple times, but you're like, yeah, that should be the world, the training, the start of where kids begin. You're a unique individual. We're not here because you are having whatever issue it is in class. We're not trying to shut that down. We're not trying to zombify you. We're not trying to make you like all the other kids. We're trying to find inside of you this jewel who you are and make that jewel sparkle. And like you were saying, the kids being put onto these drugs at an early age. And I was saying most people just, they need to talk, right? This friend of mine came to me with her 6-year-old daughter, who I had known for a year or 2 years. And she said that the school wants to put her on medication. And she asked me, is there something wrong with her? Do I need to put her on medication? I said, there's nothing wrong with her. And she said, why does she caw and bark like a dog when people ask her questions? And I said, because it doesn't matter what she says. No one's listening to her. So you ask her a question and you don't care what she says. You just already know what she's supposed to say, and if she doesn't do that. So it was this thing, it was this simple thing, and then a year later she got beyond all this stuff. So you could have either put her on drugs that would have made it so she fit in at school, or you can wait for her to get through this issue that she's having and understand and help her, and that's just not what it's about. It's not about understanding. It's not about helping. It's about you do this. You jump through this hoop. That's what we're training you to do. That's what you do.
I was going to say that's old school, Mike, and I tend to agree with you. Like, I don't know if you remember, like in 1972, you might have been a little older than me. I was only like 5. But like Marlo Thomas came out with like Free to Be You and Me on TV. And it was like a, it was kind of like a musical for kids, explaining that they could be themselves and really promoting the idea that they don't have to like be like other people, but it's okay to be unique and different, like Sesame Street, like Sesame Street and that as well. And I think that's great, I think that kids like should be free to be what they want to be. But that attitude is old school. After 1980 and the Reagan Revolution, it was about programming kids to be like good students so they could be good workers and make a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It became super competitive, is what I'm saying. Is that like people were teaching their kids French when they're like 4 years old.
Yeah, learn French or die.
Yeah, and then put Einstein tapes in their brain so that they could learn as much as they could, and then give them tutoring. These are all things that rich people can do, privilege that they have, but they imposed everyone. So you got to be super competitive. If you're going to make it in this world, you better do this, you better do that. And that's the exact, not control.
That's all that they're trained.
Controlling people.
That's all that they're trained. They're trained to be this thing that makes money. I gotta take a break, so I'll talk to you again soon. What's that?
It's a good video called Monster in a Box. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Right.
All right, I will be back momentarily. I have a quick propaganda for you, video I'm sure you'll enjoy. Be right back.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That doesn't legalize marijuana. We just didn't do that, did we? No.
Yeah, you might have. As a Minnesota state senator, just realizing the state legalized pot, sort of. Here's how it happened. State lawmakers considered a bill that would allow companies to sell THC in edibles and drinks. THC is the active component in marijuana that gets you high, but under the Minnesota law, the THC has to come from hemp plants instead of marijuana plants. Ultimately, though, does the same thing. So, yeah, you just legalized it. Many Republicans thought the law would regulate products, not legalize them. Now, craft breweries are cashing in, cranking out cannabis-infused drinks, mostly seltzers. To be fair, each drink can't have more than 5 milligrams, which isn't enough to knock you out, but the effects are there, and they come on quite quickly. Keith Villa knows a thing or two about cannabis beer, co-founding of Saria Brewing, author of Brewing with Cannabis Using THC CBD in Beer. You are an expert on this. So did Minnesota really just totally screw this one up?
I haven't read through the bill, or actually law now, but I believe they could have done it in a more thorough, vetted fashion, similar to the way we did it in Colorado and the way California did it.
Okay, so I guess you guys can now start selling something up in Minnesota. They're saying, hey, it only has 5 milligrams of this psychoactive part of marijuana. Does that mean it's just sort of all fun and games?
Not at all. The first thing I think about is, okay, what about children? Does it have the child-proof opening to prevent children from consuming this? Because these fruity beverages could appeal to kids. It's got to have protection for kids. Second is, will the dosage that's stated on the label still be in the liquid when it's consumed? The reason I say that is because if you don't use the right liner inside the can, the CBD and THC will stick to the inside of the can. So you pay a premium for these products, and if you drink it and don't get any effect because it's all stuck to the inside of the can, that's a big problem.
It'd be terrible, understandably. This brings up a larger point. And for a long time, sort of the argument about pot, I used to report in Colorado as the medical marijuana legalization process happened, was always like, look, nobody gets in fights when they smoke pot. Everybody just has a good time. It's really, it should be legal because it's not nearly as dangerous as alcohol. We're now starting to see indications that it is dangerous. People driving high, for example. A lot of issues with psychotic breaks of people who are heavy users of marijuana. Do we really fully understand yet how this is happening and the unintended consequences, if you will?
We don't.
We'll have you back. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Leland.
Thanks for being with us this evening. Marnie Hughes.
For so many years, there really isn't a lot of data and research that's occurred to allow us to understand what's going on. And more importantly than that is, what effect is there when you mix marijuana with alcohol? That potentially could be a big problem.
I don't know anybody.
A lot of unknowns, and it could be very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's ever done that in my life, I promise. Keith, it's good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Wish we had more time. If Minnesota tries to change the law, we'll have you back. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Leland.
Thanks for being with us.
Once again, think of the children. Why won't anyone think of the children? Oh my God. And that guy brews alcohol with cannabis, and he's talking about, the dangers of cannabis. Why? you know, I'm worried about the children. Oh, and people were finding out that the effects of cannabis can be dangerous. Hello?
Hey, I drank some of that stuff one time, and that's when I started hearing voices, and I started having sex with that monkey. I still don't know if the monkey is real yet, because I got addicted to that stuff, and I just drink it all the time now, and it's really good. And I always keep a case or two of the marijuana-infused refreshing beverages on my spaceship. So, but they could be right, man. I break the cans open and I lick the inside of the cans just in case the marijuana gets stuck to the inside of the cans. And you gotta think of the children, man. I don't want them ending up like me. Do what I say, not what I do.
That's a seriously fucked up video, huh?
Oh, fuck. I don't know anybody who smokes weed and drinks. It's like, what the fuck? Everybody smokes weed and drinks, you dumb fuck. Fuck. So, yeah, man, I don't know what Catholic high school those guys went to, but it wasn't my Catholic high school, because we smoked weed in the bleachers with the nuns, man. It was like, oh, fuck. It's like, what planet are these people from? You know, it's like, it has to come from hemp and not
right.
the marijuana plant. Actually, it's the same thing, but
right.
Drinking, you know, it's like, fuck. What a whacked out, I didn't catch the station. What station was that?
It's a new station come about in the last year or so called News Nation.
Oh, News Nation. Yeah, I subscribe to them. Yeah, that's a stupid fucking video. Catering to the low IQ voters. So, fuck. I don't know what to say to that. It's pretty stupid. Very fucking stupid.
Go ahead.
Half the country smokes weed, including the senators and the congressmen. So, what's the big deal, man?
Yeah, I saw a thing today that said the majority of Republicans, a large majority of Republicans, support legalization of cannabis. So.
Yeah, oh man, in my town, you know what Trump derangement syndrome is, right? With people that say that Trump is a danger to the nation and the worst president we ever had, and he's already destroyed America, and we have to fight the blue wave, you know, vote blue, vote blue, vote blue. These people are so anti-Trump in this town, and it doesn't matter what Joe Biden does. He's the hero from heaven, going to save America somehow. And don't mind the inflation or the gas prices or the wars. And a lot of these people, they're against marijuana too. Some of them might smoke a little bit, but I don't know. It's hard to tell what is going on politically because everybody's all over the map. The stoners are voting Republican. The awake people aren't voting at all. The stuck-up Christian people are supporting Biden and the communist agenda. And I don't know how to gauge the number of people that think January 6th actually was an insurrection. But it's the witch hunt is still going on. I guess 50 people now have had visits from the FBI, 50 of Trump's friends or supporters, including the pillow guy. I think you either showed a video or you talked about it.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier.
Yeah, so politically it's a mess.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna call Biden the communist Biden, you have to call Trump the fascist Trump, because that just goes. You can't act like you're playing favoritism. The communist Biden, the fascist Trump. It just makes more sense that way. Go ahead.
You know who Jordan Peterson is?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's this pretty famous professor from Canada that got famous about 5, 6, 7 years ago, criticizing the woke left, not just in Canada, but especially in Canada. And I saw a little clip of him today saying, talking about Trump, and Jordan Peterson was saying, Trump pulled off the most amazing political maneuver since World War II, and he was talking about the Abraham Accords, where Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Israel signed a non-aggression treaty, and they had a great big weapons deal, and the art of the deal with Trump in the center. And they brought peace to the Middle East between three countries that were never fighting each other. And that just goes to show you how obtuse and stupid, and with the lack of geopolitical perspective, Jordan Peterson is. He's okay on a lot of subjects, but he likes to hear the sound of his own voice, and the Abraham Accords was not what he was saying. So, Trump, the best thing about Trump was that he wanted to pull us out of Afghanistan. And he wanted to increase the independence of American business and not get us screwed by tariffs, and make it easier for businessmen to do good in America. So he was kind of isolationist, but he was no FDR.
I don't think so. I don't think he's isolationist. I think the thing that I liked most about Trump, not that I like Trump in any way, shape, or form, but what I think was best about him was that his willingness to communicate with the so-called enemies of the United States. I mean, he talked to North Korea. He was committed to having open dialogue with these people, and it seemed like Obama, Bush, Biden, they don't want to communicate with, every single one of them could have gone to fucking North Korea and got the fucking MIA fucking military guys that Trump brought home. Any one of them could have acted like that was a priority. And none of them did. So anybody who wants to bash on Trump, you go ahead. But that was important to a lot of people. And it's really fucked up that no other leader has the fucking fortitude to step up and say, we need to do this. It's been too long. It's really fucked up. I despise this government, and I don't think that Trump's any better. It's just that's what I appreciate the most about his time in office.
I think that's a very important point, and I never really thought about it until just now listening to you talk about it. And I certainly didn't know that he brought home MIAs from North Korea. Is that what you're saying? He brought home some MIAs?
Remains. He brought home the remains of like 100 different. I think it was 50. It was somewhere between 50 and 100 soldiers that hadn't been recovered.
Yeah, I remember him and Kim Jong Un standing in some alley,
meeting at the DMZ.
Yeah, at the border with the line in between them, and and I know he met with Xi of China, and he definitely met with Putin of Russia, and he seems to respect Putin, although his comments about his conversation with Xi of China that you showed on a video, what's today, Wednesday? Maybe it was last week.
I showed it today. I showed it today also.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
His comments about killing drug addicts?
Yeah.
That's about that goes right up with let's drink bleach to kill COVID, let's nuke hurricanes to see if we can blow them out of the water, and let's put blue lights inside our bodies, and Trump is when it comes to certain things, he's definitely an idiot. But that was a very important point. You will notice that even though Obama swung a deal with Iran concerning their desire to have nuclear power plants, he never went and visited them. And Trump apparently fell for the story that Iran is...
Iran is pronounced Iran. Sorry, I can't listen to you say Iran.
Iran so far away, couldn't get away. Iran, Trump didn't go visit Iran. He didn't go visit the Ayatollah. He went and visited some head choppers in Saudi Arabia, and they put their hands on a fucking snow globe from Jupiter or something like that, walked around with a saber. I don't know what that was about. That was a pretty freaky little photo shoot they had in Saudi Arabia a long time ago. But he did do some decent things. And yeah, I wouldn't call him isolationist either. I would call him a guy who takes his business skills, his New York business skills, onto the global stage. And
there was very limited amount of what he could do, okay, other than having the loudest microphone in the world. He was under constant persecution, from the day one until the last day of his presidency. And when you're constantly having to deal with these people that are saying you're a criminal and you're the highest profile person in the world, that makes it really difficult to do a whole bunch else. So,
yeah, and beyond the presidency, he's still under attack right now.
Yeah,
and these people are totally crazy. It makes you think they might have something to hide, Mike. There's so many people. There's so many people attacking the MAGA Republicans and the Trumpsters and Trump and the right. It's like whatever you do, you're never going to find out the election was stolen, and if you say that, you're going to jail.
Or at least you'll get a visit from the FBI.
Right. I guess that's what they did. I guess the pillow guy is probably a Trump supporter, and maybe he posted something on Facebook that the FBI didn't like. And
I love that this is happening. You know why I love that it's happening? Because the FBI is losing all credibility. So when they show up at your house or my house, they'll go, "Oh, it's just more political persecution," regardless of what they're there for. So I fucking love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow some marijuana smoke right in their face when they show up.
I think you should send a fucking quarter pound to Langley, dude.
Yeah. With the stolen nuclear trigger and your address on the back.
There you go.
I don't know, man. I didn't think of it. Sometimes you're just too cool for school, man. You're right. It is a good thing that it reminds me of Shakespeare when he says, "Methinks thou dost protest too much." That's what's going on, is that the Democrats are protesting and putting people on trial. And it's like the guilty person.
It's like you think they'd have other things more important to talk about than this, oh, look how bad this person is. Don't look at us. Look how bad this person is. Those guys are the evil ones, not us.
Yeah, and I don't know how I got on the guy's mailing list. Probably because I'm a registered Democrat who voted for Trump. But Adam Schiff sends me a fucking email every day. That snake-eyed motherfucker. And his two kids, both his daughter and his son, send me emails too. And I opened up a couple. Hi, I'm Tina Schiff, and Adam is my dad, and we really need your help. And it's like, fuck.
That guy is seriously strung out on some fucked up drugs. I'll tell you right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, the bug-eyed look, yeah.
Oh man, the sweaty kind of clammy skin, and the fucking obvious, you know, he when you lie, when you're a pathological liar, you know, you have to kind of, in order to be in a functional place like this, you're like, oh, I think that you take these drugs to kind of pretend that that's not who you are, and that just fucks your head so much more. So.
Oh, they were all these guys, James Comey, Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, the whole gang. One of the FBI guys, I forget his name, Sherlock or something like that. They were fucking him before Trump ever felt anything going up his ass, man. They were plotting against that guy before he ever took office. We'll set him up. We'll do this and we'll do that, and they haven't stopped. It's been 6 years minimum. They've been messing with the guy, and what you're saying is the PSYOP. I mean, everybody's saying that the PSYOP is being exposed, but when you say that you're glad the FBI finally is doing all the shit they're doing, you're right. Somebody needs to put the thumb on the FBI and say, hey, man, you guys are anti-American.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing, man. This is not. You shouldn't be involved in politics. You shouldn't be choosing one side or doing the bidding of one side. It just goes to show you how overtaken our government is. And I wouldn't even venture to say that it's a majority of Democrats. I'm falling into the trap if I do that. There's plenty of Republicans that have already betrayed their country. They think that what was it? Chuck Schumer said something like, well, yeah, if you mess with the intelligence community, they got 16 ways to fuck back with you. I think Chuck Schumer said something like that.
Yeah.
And,
Kennedy, I played a clip of Kennedy last night where she said, don't fool yourself into believing that one side is better than the other. They're all the same. They're all criminals. I fucking love that, you know? Because the goddamn news is picking one side or the other like they're the good guys. And that's just fucking obviously not true. And I think that's where the people are coming down to, is to understand there is no good guys here. It's just that we only have two choices. And obviously, you know, there's this criminal element to the FBI. The FBI's lost all credibility at this point. So, not that it hadn't before, in my eyes, somewhere along the timeline of September 11th and the Boston Marathon bombing, the FBI, there's nothing there that's at all to be respected or to think that this is protecting our country. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, and to add to that, you know, the CIA is supposed to stay out of internal affairs.
No domestic operations. The CIA is supposed to have zero domestic operations, zero, you know, operations going on inside the United States. It's against the law.
Well, that depends on what the meaning of the word is because if you define how do you define operation? The CIA is in the State Department. The CIA is in the FBI. The CIA is in the Defense Department. The CIA is in the DIA.
Savoir-faire is everywhere.
Yeah, the CIA is in every newsroom. So it depends on what you mean by an operation. Well, this was just an intelligence gathering exercise that lasted for 62 years.
Anything that the CIA, they're working directly with the New York Police Department. the New York City Police Department, which is completely illegal. And again, I would like to see the FBI abolished because they don't do anything good. I would like to see the NSA abolished. I would like to see the Department of Homeland Security abolished. I would like all these other organizations. The CIA, I simply want reeled out of this fucking country, okay? They're evil. They do evil around the world. That's their job. I don't want them doing evil in this country, and it's really fucked up that that's what they're doing. The FBI, this is our government. The FBI is doing evil in our country. The CIA is doing evil in our country. I have a video tomorrow I'm going to play about one of the conservative commentators comparing the FBI to I can't think. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, I am glad that they're doing this because it is pushing stuff to the limit. And
what, the KGB?
Yeah.
FSA?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they are. They're like the KGB or the FSA. That's what they are. And personally, I know that Russia has plenty of intelligence operations and intelligence departments, but just off the cuff, not knowing anything, I would have to say they're probably cleaner than us in terms of integrity. I know they do some fucked up shit, and they come down hard on certain types of protesters and stuff, but
so does this government, clearly.
Yeah, I don't really see the KGB or the FSA blowing shit up inside their own country.
I don't know. I'm not really concerned about other countries. I don't really give a fuck about that. What I'm concerned about is the U.S. police state and how it just looks like it's gotten so much worse. And then you hear these people talking about, oh, the Democrats are soft on crime, and the Republicans coming into office, knowing that they're moving into office on this, we must be strong on crime, and then you have their fearless leader standing up there saying, we have to execute drug dealers.
Right. Yeah.
It's headed a really bad direction because the police state. So anything that they can do to deteriorate the respect, the call, the idea that somehow policing makes us safer. I just don't get where people. That's just some kind of stupid programming that obviously isn't working. How come people can't see the light of day? Policing.
Yeah, they get stuck on issues like the Christian Republicans and maybe even some Democrats. They're really stuck on the abortion issue. And so you see that being argued every day right now. 15 weeks, 20 weeks, yeah, as soon as we take power, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Fuck that shit. You stay away from abortion, both sides. I know there was a Supreme Court ruling, and I know it's fucked up, but fix the fucking economy. It's the fucking economy. We want jobs, we want infrastructure,
right.
We want freedom, and we want justice. And you know what? Stay away from women's bodies while you're at it.
Stay away from my body too, motherfucker. Okay? I don't need a babysitter. Okay? Yes, we need someone to work on the economy. That's out of my hands. I don't need someone to tell me what's safe and not safe. I don't need someone to tell me it's okay to cross the street now, or it's okay to put this substance or that substance inside my body. I know perfectly well. Or
you have to stand in a certain spot at the grocery store 6 foot away from somebody else who has a mask on, and the stats coming out of Canada right now are saying that the majority of the deaths from COVID-19, that's over 50%, are people that are multi-vaccinated. They got at least 2 or more vaccine injections, the boosters, right?
Yeah.
The majority of the people dying from COVID are in Canada are multi-vaccinated people.
Yeah.
So that's just, they got some brand new stats going up to 81% on certain groups, demographic groups and stuff. And we're going to, that's going to be stifled. It's really going to be stifled. But at least I can say this now, because 6 months ago, your YouTube channel would have been shut down if I said that on your fucking YouTube channel. So there's a silver lining to every fucking problem.
I think that's a pushback. I think that's a pushback from this whole, we can stop whoever we want, the whole Hunter Biden thing and all of that, I think right now the social media giants are actually, I think they feel threatened. I think they feel threatened by new upstarts. I really do.
Yeah, I'm still getting fact checkers warnings on my Facebook posts. My Twitter account was shut down. I never got it back, so I opened up a new one, and I'll try to get the old one back because I was really active on Twitter. I still don't know what I did wrong on Twitter. I retweeted something, and they shut me down, and that was it. Luckily, on my YouTube channel, all I do is music, and once I had a Palestinian music video eliminated, and that was it. But yeah, maybe, and you got certain senators talking about information freedom. Definitely, Trump would like to free up the IT giants, Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And you would, I would, I think that's how we win. Information freedom.
Yeah.
Let people talk about flat Earth. Let people talk about whatever they want. As long as it's not kiddie porn and snuff films. And we the population will sort it out. We don't need Big Brother telling us what we can say and what we can't say. I'm not going to adopt people's pronouns. Call me a them. I'm not a she, I'm not a he, I'm a them.
I call everybody dude.
Yeah, me too.
My roommate's girlfriend, I said, you got to tell me what your nickname is, which she hasn't so far. And I told her, tell me what it is. I'm going to call you dude until you, because I can't give my roommate's girlfriend a nickname because I have very inappropriate nicknames. Sugar ass.
Yeah, well, this is the key to planetary freedom. Is information freedom. We need the ability to spread information, and I'm sure you remember Obama saying, well, people just aren't smart enough to govern themselves. He actually said that.
Yeah.
It's like, you get the fuck out of my life, and you will see my whole block and my whole little town get along just fine without you, Mr. Obama, or Mr. Trump, or Mr. Bush or Mr. Biden. We don't need you guys.
Yeah.
We'll get along just fine. And I'm seeing way double the police presence in my town right now, doubled overnight. I think they're trying to increase their budget. So they add a whole bunch of hours. It's like, this is like Sleepy Town, USA. There's no crime here, but everywhere I go for the last 4 days, cops everywhere. It's like, fuck, you're making me paranoid, dude. So, I don't know, man. I mean, I will get through this, but the ability, free speech and the freedom of the press is, I think, the number one liberating factor, how we're going to get through it. We've got to have that. Otherwise, we're just living in V for Vendetta, live. It's a live movie,
I love that movie.
Yeah, Biden is the big head on the screen saying, we're coming for you guys, you MAGA guys, you're dangerous criminals, It's like, fuck. So that's what we need. We need the ability to talk to each other any way we choose, and to exchange ideas. That's what we need.
When they blow up, when he first blows up the clock tower, he goes and he rescues Natalie Portman from the shitty cops, and then he takes her to the rooftop, and the clock tower, Liberty, a Statue of Liberty, something like that. Justice.
Big Ben.
What was it? Big Ben?
Big Ben.
Yeah, he blows up Big Ben, and he says, God damn it, I lost my train of thought again. So he blows up Big Ben, and he says, fuck, can't think of it. Oh well, it'll come to me.
Well, I'm gonna hit the hay, man. I got another hard day at work, but God bless all the freedom fighters.
Hey, tell me what's a big size bud for your plants after it's cured and everything.
Well, sometimes the whole branch turns into one big giant bud, dude.
Yeah, so so you're talking about like a 3-foot long bud, or?
Yeah, that's a big bud, and after it's dry, it's the size of your arm.
Yeah.
And when it's wet, it's twice that size.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a pretty cool bud.
Yeah, that's a good branch. And when they get that heavy, you got to tie them up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll break.
Yeah.
So that's just gardening. You got to protect your shit, and that's why we need guns. Because a lot of these young kids, they don't want to grow their own weed, so they hop my barbed wire electrified fence somehow, and I got to shoot them. So that's why we need guns, Mike.
No, that's not why we need guns.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, take care.
And we don't need guns. I don't have a gun. I have not had a gun in my adult life. I don't like guns. I don't like them. They're not toys. I like toys. Guns are not toys. That doesn't mean that I don't want people to have guns so they can protect their families, so they can protect themselves, so that they can help their communities be a safer place. I've told you again and again, I think open carry gun laws, not just gun laws, but people open carrying, out in the Walmart, out in the fucking, at the cash machine, at the wherever it is, the grocery store. I think that is, a huge deterrent against crime, right? Two fucking cracked out dudes come in the fucking restaurant and they see guys sitting there. I've told you, we went to this little restaurant in Modesto, like this little kind of, it wasn't really a restaurant, it was like a coffee house, it was like, and it was right on an airstrip, and you could see the planes landing and stuff while we're eating lunch. And these guys walk in with AR-15s slung over their shoulder. Two of them. They're all dressed in the the camouflage gear that, for some reason, certain percentage of the population likes to wear now. They're all dressed in and they got AR-15s over their shoulder, and I was just like, I felt very secure at that moment. Not that I didn't before, because I don't have like this worry, fear thing a whole lot. There's certain moments when things look extremely suspicious, and then you have to, we were at the ATM, the cash machine the other day, and this old kind of car went by right when I walked up to the ATM, and it had all super dark tinted windows, and it started to go around the bank, which there's nothing going on around the bank. There's nowhere else to go but completely around the bank and come back around. And I was like, suspicious car, Craig, keep the vehicle running. Suspicious vehicle, keep the car running. And he said, I saw it too. So I don't walk around with the fear. I walk around with a heightened sense of awareness, which is where I'm at pretty much all the time. You know your surroundings. You're pretty safe. And if you open carry, or if there's somebody open carrying in the same general vicinity of you, I think that you're probably at least twice as safe as you are without someone doing it. So as I said, I think that open carry is most likely the best form of deterrent. And Chris is right about suicides and people using guns. A lot of people use guns to kill themselves. I think that suicide is not a good way to leave the planet. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Things.
What are you doing?
This thing that I do.
You're not even doing anything. You're just sitting there. You're not doing anything. We're talking about a bunch of fucking. Can you hear me?
No, I can't.
You can't even hear me.
Why would I want to hear you?
I don't want to hear your dumb ass either.
Well, see, you have an easy option to change that, don't you?
I don't.
Okay.
What would be that? Go watch.
Change the fucking channel, dude. You don't want to watch
go
this?
Watch CNN.
There you go.
You fuck. Alright, listen here, motherfucker. You be fucking putting on news channel clips from all the news channels. You say I should just go be watching instead of your motherfucking channel.
No, you said you don't want to listen to me, so go listen to someone else. I didn't say go watch news channels.
What are you talking about? You said, I said I don't want to listen to you. I don't.
Good, go somewhere else.
Because I can't, there's nowhere else to go.
Well, thank you very much. I understand that.
There's really not. There's not a lot of options out here in the fucking world, dude.
Are you okay?
You don't understand this?
You sound
Are you okay?
You sound really sad.
You sound dumb and angry.
That's entirely possible.
Are you dumb and angry?
Maybe. I'm not a very good judge of that sort of thing. At least judging myself, I'm not very good at that.
I've been drinking.
You sound really sad.
I am.
Well, it's good to hear from you, and I hope that you're not going to remain sad for long.
I was listening to that last caller. That guy sounded very sad. Why is he so sad?
Life is hard, man.
Man, dude, life is hard when you're bitching about the government.
Think so?
And yep.
If you say so.
And I think when you start getting older, you should I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. I don't know, just try to be fucking happy more. Stop bitching about the government.
What should I bitch about?
I don't know, the neighbors, because they're fucking stupid.
The neighbors are fucking stupid, but I don't want to bitch about my neighbors. I try and
bitch about the bills.
That doesn't.
Bitch about the
Why?
Goddamn
That's my
bills.
everyday world. I don't want to bitch about my everyday world. I like my everyday world. I hate the fucking government. I hate the fucking government.
I know. All we're doing is bitching about the bills and the government. And you know what, Michael? We need to stop bitching. And we need to start understanding that we need more capitalism over here. And we need to retain the value of our currency is what we need to do. Do you think that maybe we should do that instead of bitching about all these other dumbass shit? And if we're gonna bitch about the government, maybe we should tell the government to fucking stop fucking with our goddamn money. Seriously. ladies and gentlemen, I swear to God, I'm thinking that's the only thing that really needs to be talked about, is because what makes the world go round is having some money, and you need to fucking pay your bills. But the government needs to stop fucking reducing the value of a dollar, and that's what we should be talking about, not Black Lives Matter.
I didn't talk about Black Lives Matter.
Fucking shows and stuff like that. We should not be doing that. We need money.
Why can't we talk about what we want to talk about? Who are you to decide what we should talk about?
Because I fucking said so, motherfucker.
Okay.
Do you not hear me? Do you not hear what the fuck I did?
That's the problem. We hear you.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear from you, and I hope you're doing well.
Hold on. I mean, I know that you don't understand this, and like people like Chris from Olympia doesn't understand. But like, yeah, we need to retain the value of shit that we own. We don't want to lose value. And people like you fuckers, you don't have anything, and you don't own shit, and so you're bitching, and you don't understand the people that own shit. You literally do not understand the people that fucking actually own shit. There's millions of billions of people that live on the fucking earth. So, I just fucking just say, fucking, you know, just quit bitching.
Okay.
Goddamn time.
All right.
Unless you want to bitch about the value of money.
No, tomorrow we're talking about childhood heroes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It went from fucking locking your gun in a safe with a thing of money. Dude, what the fuck are you? Dude, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I told you before. I'm gonna tell you again. You need to get the fuck off the internet. Okay?
I think that's probably true.
I'm not even kidding you. This is ridiculous.
I agree. This is fucking stupid.
You literally need to take a look at your behavior.
I don't want to do that.
Dude, how was the stepson's girlfriend's cookies?
The ones that I made with her were very good. I didn't try the other
What
ones.
was the recipe?
What? Oh, he used butter
What
and
was the recipe?
chocolate
What kind?
chips and flour and stuff like that. Butter, chocolate chips,
Flour.
flour.
That was it?
I don't know. I don't. It's not my recipe. I just supplied the butter. Well, it's good to hear from you. We miss you when you're not around. What's that?
That doesn't seem like a very well thought out recipe.
I don't know. She was using the back
You
of
know,
the
you didn't add
of the
any
chocolate
salt?
chip. I didn't add anything except for butter. Speak English?
Baking powder, maybe?
I don't know. I have no idea. I said, how much butter do you need? And I melted the butter for her.
Raisins?
No raisins.
Oatmeal?
Ooh, I love oatmeal cookies with raisins.
You seriously should start a cooking book, a cooking book.
No, that's not what I want to write.
Flour cooking book.
No, I want to do sci-fi, I think.
Sci-fi?
Yeah, it sounds more fun.
I agree, yeah, sci-fi. Sci-fi.
All right, it's good to hear from you. I got to go get some food. I hope you're doing okay, and you should call more often. We worry about you when you don't call, you know.
I literally can't even call.
Okay, well, try and call when you can. I got to get some food.
Why are you trying to get off the line currently?
I got to get some food. Jesus
right
Christ,
now.
dude. English. Do you speak it?
You just trying to, like, you say you want me to call back, and then you
call at 3 hours and 45 minutes into the show, and I'm like, and then I talk to you for a fucking half an hour, and you're like, you don't even talk to me. Fuck, dude.
You're like, you want me to, dude, you act like you want me to be on the fucking line, at a later date.
No.
And I'm like, I'm on the line right now. And you're all like fucking.
No, what I said is we
goddamn.
worry about you when we don't hear from you. So you should call more often.
Russian.
See, we heard from you today. We heard from you today, so we don't have to worry about you anymore.
You're Russian.
So bye. And it's good to hear from him, isn't it? I need to go eat some food. So thank you very much for tuning in. You know what? I just made banana nut muffins with walnuts. I don't particularly care for walnuts. So I think I'll stay away from the banana nut muffins from now on. That being said, my mom loved walnuts. She would eat walnuts every day. As I was saying, thank you so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. And please remember, we do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel. And tomorrow night we're going to be talking about what was your biggest childhood idol? Or we could talk about the FBI. No, we're going to talk about the FBI next week and their evil deeds. But tomorrow we'll talk about who was your biggest childhood idol. I think maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. I'll talk about it a little bit anyways. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, stay cool, because one of these days it's got to get better. It's got to get better one of these days. So stay cool till then.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake,
It still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
You got a pretty shape to you, Regine.
Not as pretty as Miss Augusta.
That a fact?
Mm-hmm. Miss Augusta got a real pretty shape.
That's so.
She got the prettiest shape I'd ever seen, black or white. She got a tiny waist and an ass that go like this, and skinny legs. She got skinny legs.
That's so.
And titties. You likes big titties, don't you?
Oh, you know I love big titties.
She got big titties.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.